money, and they'd allow you to spend a certain portion of it. So that's all the principle of liberty. So I think this movement, which there's too much credit given to me that I had anything to do with it. But what I say is I talked about the problems that we have and how the principles of liberty solve our problems, and I believe in competing currencies and reining in the Fed's
So we
monopoly.
are about
and all of a sudden, somebody
13 minutes away from Trump
so
coming out to give his speech on Bitcoin. Definitely curious to see what kind of policies he's going to come out and tell us. RFK came out yesterday and said that he did not want to tax Bitcoin. So we're going to hope that Trump wants to kind of one up RFK from yesterday and see what he has to say.
Paul, Dr. Paul, would love to get your thoughts on the issues facing Americans and the economy today. Obviously, in election 2024, the economy is going to be a huge issue. What are your thoughts on just the current state of inflation and savings for the average person?
I think we live witnessing now the cracking of the biggest bubble ever in the history of financial history. And that it's been created by the number one cause, of course, is.
So I just want to show you real quick.
The inflation of the money
Bitcoin
supply,
already pumping to 69K. We're looking at like
August
73,
15th,
74 as
because
all-time
that
highs. So depending on what Donald Trump comes out and tells us, this could be a massive spike.
And I think
could be a good opportunity for you to come in here and make some money.
Yeah, when they close that, I think you have to have a unit of account, morally and financially. But if you have no account, and that's what the debate and the arguments going on now. Can and will a Bitcoin be a unit of account? But I don't think there's a magic wand. I think it takes
doesn't
time
surprise me here that
people
Ron Paul
understand
is a big fan of
so that they
Bitcoin.
measure things today.
He was always pretty good.
Still, the majority of people still measure the unit of account as $1, and that's why the bubble keeps being bigger. But it's going to change. The bubble always ends, and it ends either by the government wising up, which they never do, and spend less money and quit printing money.
Is there a solution to the debt crisis that you see right now if you were in power?
Not under these conditions, but there is a solution. It can be found, in freedom.
I was going to say Bitcoin.
You have to realize
can be found in Bitcoin.
The government can't. They created this problem. But it's going to be very hard because it's very painful to quit spending. I mean,
this guy in the chat was saying buy Trump coin.
It's a ton of them.
It's on Solana apparently.
Everybody, and then you have the military
BTC at 69er.
You have domestic spending. You have foreign policy spending.
Yeah, this should be really interesting to see how far we pump. Let's go back and look at it real quick.
It's not just been
it's still
one
pumping,
party.
man. We're up 2% already.
And
this is
so
exciting.
I'm very independent-minded very often on, blaming he did this and he did that, because to get elected, so the people have responsibility too. But I think that's where the wakening up is going. People are starting to wake up.
We're about 10 minutes away from Donald Trump coming out here to speak. Normally, anytime a president is scheduled to speak, he's a little bit late. We have the Secret Service to set up the event, and you got to wait for them to give the okay for him to actually go out there. So he could be a little bit late. Maybe he's on time this time. I don't really know, but he's scheduled to speak in 10 minutes.
It's the taking over the monetary policy. The symbolic date or the real date that I pinned it down is that August 15th, when there was going to be no restraint on the Federal Reserve, no restraint on the special interests, no restraint whatsoever. So this is the reason why we have so much special interest and so many lobbyists in Washington, and they really run the show.
Well, Dr. Paul, I want to get your thoughts today. We're minutes away from Donald J. Trump's historic speech at the Bitcoin conference. I want to talk a little bit about your Bitcoin journey. Maybe you can tell us how your thoughts on Bitcoin have evolved in 2012 when you were running for president. A lot of young, enthusiastic kids coming to you with this maybe crazy idea.
Well, I have to say, I see it through my personal viewpoint, and that is, and we already touched on this. If you take the principles of liberty, the people solve these problems. I didn't stay up and say, I understand inflation and we have to solve this problem. I think I'm going to invent the Bitcoin or something like that. But no,
So
you have to have freedom of choice.
He's definitely not
choice. So
Satoshi.
that's important. Otherwise, the ideas can't develop. So I have a lot of confidence in people who are allowed to make up their own mind, recognize that they own their lives, they ought to own their own money, and there's one strict rule of this almost total freedom, is you can't use violence and you can't defraud, because if you break the rules of natural law,
check back again.
it's not going to work
Ooh,
out.
we
And
dipped
that's a contest
back
that's
to
been going on for
68K.
thousands of years, the good and the bad and the natural law.
54%
And
Bitcoin
we're
dominance.
up against right now in this country
2%
groups of people
for the day.
that said, you guys, you believe in this truth thing. You're always seeking truth. What is right and wrong? And they actually have a philosophy. Marxism is based on it. They don't have it. Don't waste your time trying to find out what truth is, because there is no truth. So what does that do? Opens up the door to tyranny.
I'm really wondering what he's going to
That's
come out here
what
and
they
say.
do. It's an open
Anticipation
up to force.
is
That's
getting
where
me.
we are. And then the bubbles, and I see
About
it as a
7
moral
minutes away from him
bankruptcy and
coming out.
financial bankruptcy. And
7 minutes.
it does end, and it is ending. This bubble's going to burst. The biggest question is, how are they going to survive? How will we survive? And that is what we don't know. If it isn't connected with maximizing and the understanding of liberty, it's not going to work. And so sometimes this has gone through history at times, and sometimes that we'll end up getting a worse government. So if things don't come along where they decide that the principles of limited government and personal freedom, if that's not acceptable, we're all going to suffer more. We see some of the results, in our cities now, with more homeless people and all this. That's the payment that is coming back. But I also see, I'm really an optimist on this, because I do believe when I see a crowd like this, that if you're indicating the possibility
6 minutes
that
until
some
Donald
of them
Trump comes out
came
here and gives his
because they
speech
heard the
on
principles
Bitcoin.
of liberty, that would excite me.
Check
and
back,
I think
see if
there
we're back
are
at 69K.
people that get excited about liberty. And
Almost
one
at
time somebody came up to
69K.
me and said,
We are
"Oh,
looking
you're a
at
politician that wants to legalize marijuana."
74,000
And I
to
pretended
hit
I
a
was
new
very
all-time high,
resentful
depending on
about
what
it. I said,
Donald Trump comes out here and tells us.
No, you have
Could
it
be a new
wrong.
all-time high.
I never said legalize marijuana. I said legalize freedom of choice.
We're with the
There you
great
go.
Dr. Ron Paul here. Ron, want to get your sentiments, your idea. Oh, applause. Wild here for Dr. Ron
Yeah.
Paul.
Everybody loves Ron Paul.
Dr.
How can you not
Paul,
love Ron
is there a
Paul? Come on.
candidate that can go far enough to solve some of
He's
these
a likable
issues
guy. Come
facing
on.
America? Is there a candidate in this election that has impressed you?
Oh, yeah, about 10. Well, I don't get into the personalities. I think we get lost sometimes
Yeah.
at one time.
For sure.
Because I was never a person in politics. I was a person that was enthusiastic, that I wanted to speak out, and that was a vehicle. So I don't deal with parties, but I go out and see people and talk to people. And
Trump 2024 in the chat.
I've met Trump. And
I like the old man.
One thing about Trump, and this may be talking out of school, and he might say, you shouldn't be talking about our conversation, that his personality was different. He was much more cordial than I ever believed.
Well, people in person. They make a
Yeah,
different
no,
impression.
it was different. Some people would interpret his personality differently, but I really try to avoid it. If anybody
People are
wants to talk
posting their
about freedom,
Bitcoin wallet in the
and I
chat.
can have
I guess thinking people are
influence,
going to send them money.
Well, we're here with Dr. Ron
Yeah.
Paul. We're going to send it over to the main stage. Of course, his legacy lives
right.
on, and the
Thank you.
conversation.
So we're just a little bit away from Donald Trump coming out here at Bitcoin 2024. I just want to show you guys really quick. Here is our Bitcoin price. This is before he's giving his speech. We're at 68K. We've been already at 69K. We are looking at 73 to 74,000 to break all-time high. What do they got? God bless Bitcoin, blah, 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 blah. And actually, are they bringing him out now? People in the chat are saying Trump is sexy. I don't know about that. Don't know about that one. Great content today. Okay. And people are still posting their Bitcoin wallets in the chat. That's something crazy. Bitcoin by the people for the people. So I don't normally expect the president to come out on time. You know, you have Secret Service, has to set up the room and make sure everything's safe before he can actually come out. But let's go ahead and see what this guy has to say.
I can't hear you. Let's make some noise. That's better. That's better.
Who's this guy?
We are moments away from seeing President Donald J. Trump, but before then we have a quick
3
announcement.
minutes.
I would like to tell you all, first of all, from the bottom of our team's hearts at the BTC Inc., the Bitcoin Conference, and Bitcoin Magazine, thank you. Thank you for coming to witness this historic moment. Thank you for coming to celebrate Bitcoin.
We're having a president come out here.
We are so excited to have you here, and we're so excited as well to have you next year. We want to give you a quick video.
Insane.
Let's roll it. Big announcement.
Let's check out, see what their announcement is.
We are bringing the Bitcoin conference to the American West, Las Vegas.
Okay, they're going to Vegas. This event has been really good. Obviously, because the president's going to be there, they had to make it a little bit more professional.
Bitcoin history.
There's been some past Bitcoin conferences where they were just not professional. But this has been really well done. I'm actually really impressed with them.
Buy your tickets now at b.tc/2025.
A lot of good information has been
We cannot
at
wait
these events.
to see you in Las Vegas. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to introduce CEO of BTC Inc., the man, the myth, the legend, David Bailey. Please come on out.
Trump still got like 1 minute before it comes out. Who's this guy? David Bailey, of CEO of what? I didn't catch it.
Hello. Wow.
Okay.
Wow. We've come a long ways in 10 years. This crowd is insane.
Yeah.
Are y'all having fun?
The venue's huge.
You know, as Dr. Paul always said, it's an idea whose time has come. Bitcoin is an idea whose time has come. So I want to thank the leadership of Donald Trump.
Yeah, I don't care about this guy. Let me check the price again one more time.
Coming out, supporting us, supporting
Oh,
our
we're
cause.
dipping.
And I also want to give him a
Why are we
special thanks.
dipping? Come on, guys.
And I'd like all of you to give him a special thanks
It was at
for
69,000.
committing to commute
And now we're
Ross
we're
Ulbricht's
battling
sentence
this
on day one of his
68,
administration.
7, 8 battle here, trying to see where it's going to go. Let's go back and see this guy.
This crowd is insane.
What are they saying?
Let's go.
Yeah, Trump should be out any minute now.
You know, I remember the first Bitcoin conference I went to.
As soon as they get
There
this guy off
was-
the stage.
I don't know, 800 people there. I think there's 8,000 people in this room. You know, this is a special moment in time. You can feel the energy here. The fact that we have 10 U.S. senators here.
10.
We have 2 presidential candidates here. Bitcoin is the future of this country.
That's a long way from them calling this magical internet money. Now they have a president.
And it's not a red party thing, and it's not a blue party thing. It's an orange party thing.
Yeah, Bitcoin. Orange. Not orange for Trump, though. Orange for Bitcoin.
So with that, I want to show y'all something.
Trump should be out here
Who
as
better
soon as
than
this guy gets off
the
the
man
stage.
himself, Donald J. Trump, to lead the orange party. But
He doesn't lead
we also
Bitcoin.
wanted to give him a little gift from the Bitcoin community. So I'm holding in my hand a Cassasius coin from 2013.
Okay.
Okay, there's one Bitcoin on here.
That's pretty cool.
A Bitcoin OG flew
It's a physical
halfway around the
Bitcoin.
world to come and deliver this for the president. So on behalf of the entire Bitcoin community,
So bring him out and give it to
I
him.
want to give Donald Trump a Bitcoin, non-custodial Bitcoin, and I want us to officially greet him
There we go.
as a Bitcoiner.
And Trump's going to come out and say, no taxes on Bitcoin. And the crowd goes wild.
So with that, I don't know if he's ready yet.
There he comes.
We're going to be joined by the 45th and hopefully 47th President of the United States.
Well, shut up and bring him out.
All right.
Not
hey,
ready yet. Not ready yet.
Oh, come on.
It's not me.
See, I
I'm
told
not
you,
the
like,
president of the United States.
normally
Maybe
when the
someday.
president has a speech, he's going to be late.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Both
we are
sides of
so
the house.
excited. We are just waiting
Secret
for
Service has to make
everything to be
sure
ready.
the entire venue is
Give
safe.
us a little time. We're going to
They're
play
gonna
some
give him the
music.
cue when he can
we'll
go
be
out.
right back.
Don't play
Any minute
music.
now. Don't worry.
What are you talking about playing music? You're going to try and get me demonetized. Fools. All right, so any second, Donald Trump should be out here. Any second now. Look at all the people there, though. That's a nice venue, too. Like, especially some of the venues in the past that we've seen at these Bitcoin conferences. This year, we got to hand it to him. It's really nice. So yeah, right now we're just waiting for Donald Trump to come out here. Secret Service will have to give him the cue. They got to make sure everything is safe, especially when this heightened political climate. We got to make sure everything is clear for him to come out. Last thing we want is another attempt at a Bitcoin conference, because that would be a terrible look for our cryptocurrencies. While they're BSing, let's go ahead and check the price again one more time. There we go. All right. So we are 68.5, so it's still kind of going down. I guess people are kind of riding the expectation, I guess, that it was going to go higher. So now they're trying to make profits. But depending on what kind of information he gives us in this speech, could be anything from backing US dollar with Bitcoin to, I don't know, like RFK was saying no taxes on Bitcoin. Maybe Trump would agree with that. RFK also had a pretty cool idea where you could use your Bitcoin in a 1031
Point in
exchange.
the strategic reserve.
that's
Is what
pretty
you're
cool.
expecting Donald Trump to announce
Let's see
today.
if we come
I
back.
think it's
No, it's
important
just
to
these
set your
fools again.
expectations properly.
But yeah, Bitcoin is not pumping. I'm going to bring back up the chat here. All right. Peter says, thanks for the stream, bro. Bitcoin reserve, pension funds. Yeah, see, we don't know what Trump is going to say. I'm just hyped to see what he's going to say. They're still setting up the stage if you just tuned in. So he should be out here any minute. They just got to make sure it's clear. But yeah, zero tax on Bitcoin, reserve currency. I know RFK said he was going to buy something crazy like 500K a day or something like that. Some ridiculous number. I don't know what Trump would feel about doing that, but if the Treasury does decide to buy Bitcoin, that's just going to pump our bags. It's going to be a great for Bitcoin. Peter says he bought at 65K, so far doing great. Yeah, let me go back and check and see where you're at, bro. I hit play again. There we go. So you bought 65K. You're already looking at 68.5, and I saw it go up to 69 earlier. So you're doing great. I would be cautious that it could crash right after Trump comes out. So you got to be careful. Let's say he comes out and he doesn't give any announcement. The price could just, and even if he does give a good announcement, sometimes Bitcoin just doesn't make sense. So he could just crash anyway. Total gamble, but I am rooting for you that we break through that 73, 74 all-time high. Because once you break that resistance, it'll go up, and you're going to make a ton of profit. Let's go back. Yeah, but him being bullish, he is bullish. Yeah, so he went from saying Bitcoin was a scam coin to, I guess, Vivek Ramaswamy talking him into how great Bitcoin is for America. And now Trump has completely transitioned into this Bitcoin guy who wants to try and bring all the miners into America and make Bitcoin a powerhouse in America. Obviously, that doesn't work for decentralization, but I admire his thoughts on making America great. So Trump also plays around with NFTs and Vance hate Gary Gensler. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Trump's NFTs. They're kind of silly, but it's pretty cool. Good way for him to make money for his campaign, I'm sure, and costs practically nothing. I don't know a whole lot about Vance hating Gary Gensler. I mean, I don't know a lot about Vance in general, but it seems like most people don't like Gary Gensler at all. So hopefully he's on his way out. Every crypto guy is pretty much down with Vance. Vance has some AVAX. Okay. So he's a altcoin kind of guy. Let's see what these fools are saying. Hopefully they're saying he's coming out soon.
We're waiting for Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States, to take the stage. I want to read through some of his quotes. 2019, his introduction to Bitcoin, his first remarks, quote, Bitcoin just seems like a scam. I don't like
that's what I was just saying.
It's competing against the dollar. I want the dollar to be the currency of the
Vivek
world.
Completely
the
changed
reversal,
his ideas.
obviously the positivity now. What are your thoughts thinking back about some of these statements, given what we're about to see, Matt?
It's just amazing how much can change in 6 months, and I just think it's important for everyone to just stay humble out there and realize the world can change faster than you expect it to.
Good political move.
But it is just amazing. It is amazing to witness and be a part of, and I'm just really excited to hear what the president says.
Well, certainly some people expecting hard policy, maybe Donald Trump laying out a vision for America and Bitcoin. I'll go through some of his other statements, and the reversal really beginning in May of this year, right? We saw there was a private fundraiser. He said that Biden is against it. Biden doesn't even know what it is. He has no idea. Gensler is against it. The Democrats are against it. I'm fine with it. If you like crypto, you better vote for Trump. What was your thoughts when you heard that just months ago that Donald Trump had reversed his ideas about Bitcoin?
I was cautiously optimistic and very skeptical, and I feel like today changes that, but we'll see.
And we've seen some policy advances. Trump saying, I will ensure the future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA. Of course, that's already one of his promises. I will support the right to self-custody. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from Bitcoin, and he will never allow the creation of a CBDC. Taken as a whole, from the policy we know of Trump, what are your thoughts about his core proposal so far?
Look, I think it's important to properly set expectations. I think the fact that he's here alone is a massive validation of everything we've been working on for so many years, that thousands of people around the world, hundreds of thousands of people around the world have been building out this protocol. I've been building out the tools that make all of this possible. And just to have him here today to discuss Bitcoin with us is absolutely monumental. Everything else is simply gravy on top of that, in my opinion.
It's a huge change from being magical internet money.
Expecting updates on the main stage, looking at a rapt audience of people who are waiting to see Donald J. Trump make history here on the Nakamoto stage at Bitcoin 2024. We've got some theme music coming out there, maybe some optimism that he's about to take the stage. We're going to send it to a quick commercial break. We'll be coming back We'll be watching history together. Stay tuned.
All right, I'm
Keep
gonna hit
watching
the-
on X,
I'm
YouTube,
gonna check
and
the price
Rumble. We
again.
are minutes away from history at
see
the
what we got.
Bitcoin conference in Nashville, Tennessee. Stay with us.
Okay, all right, we're holding almost 68.5. I'm gonna turn that music off. I don't know if they're gonna get me demonetized with their music of choice, but we're looking at he's about 12 minutes late. Trump should be coming out any moment now. We're losing ground in Bitcoin at 68.5 from when I just started streaming. It was already 69, so it's starting to go down. 68.4 now. Oh, we don't know what's going to happen when he hits the stage. If he has some crazy announcement, hopefully it pumps. I don't know what he's going to say, though. I'm hoping 75K to take profit. That's your target goal, to sell out at 75K. That'd be a nice move for you. If we can hit 75K, let's go. Let's say Trump comes out, he says no tax on Bitcoin. You're good to go. Watch the pump. 75K, you sell out. Right on. Yeah, that'd be a nice little piece of profit for you for sure. But we're losing value. Slowly losing value. Let me check and see what's going on here. XRP's down a little bit. It was holding 60 cents pretty strongly. Why is Kanye West says hello? Hello. We are about 15 minutes late for Trump coming out and giving his speech. Let's flip back and see what they're talking about. Got any sleeper picks? Not right now. Right now, I am just watching Bitcoin to see what happens as Trump comes out on stage. Depending on what policies Trump campaigns on, to say for Bitcoin, we could see a price go up. We could see it go down. That's the excitement of crypto for me. So he should be out any minute. He's scheduled to speak for about 30 minutes. Like Elon on SNL. Yeah, I remember that. So I mean, we can just sit back and watch. It's fun. All right, I'm gonna bring these guys back.
Proposals we might see from Trump. We've covered
They're talking about policy
RFK's
proposals, so
bold
that's
initiative
interesting.
yesterday. CK, maybe we can cut in there and just get your perspective. What can Donald Trump say on the stage to get
No
Bitcoiners
taxes.
excited out in the polls in November?
Well, you know what? First, we talked about this earlier. Freeing Ross is an imperative. Second,
Okay, that has
is
nothing to
protecting
do-
Bitcoin privacy and
free
a
Ross. Like, we don't
strategic
care about that.
reserve would be a very, very nice campaign promise. Going back to RFK, he pretty much gave.
If he comes
Bitcoiners
out there and
everything they
only
could
talks
ask
about
for in
freeing
terms of
Ross, like that's his only campaign
No one is bullish
promise,
enough
that's
on
a
these
huge
massive,
letdown
massive
for me.
campaign promises for Bitcoiners. And I think one that went a little underreported but is absolutely huge is the potential of removing capital gains tax from.
Trump should be extra careful with security. Bitcoiners don't like the government. That's what I was saying, man. You gotta give time for the Secret Service to actually make sure the room's clear. That's what's taking so long. They haven't given him the okay to come out on stage yet. I don't think any politician can say no taxes. RFK just came out yesterday and said no taxes to Bitcoin.
That have maybe flown under the radar, maybe taking us into a window of what he might be saying on stage. What
Granted,
he's thinking
RFK is
about
not
how
going to
Bitcoin
win. He's
intersects
third
with the
party.
future of America.
So
He
I
said,
see
quote,
your point.
I don't want to be responsible for another country taking over this industry, calling his engagement with the industry, quote, eye-opening, and of course, the two quotes that got the most play on Bloomberg that day, quote, China is into it, it's not going away. Matt, what do you think about this idea that Bitcoin is persisting, it's winning, and that the U.S. must react, in fact, to Bitcoin's rise
China
around
goes
the
back
world?
and forth on Bitcoin,
Yeah, I mean,
really.
I think it's simply adapt or die. I mean, I think the game theory of Bitcoin plays out that every person, every company, every government is incentivized to adopt Bitcoin as quickly as possible, because as this adoption cycle happens, the purchasing power starts to evaporate if you don't adopt it sooner rather than later.
Christian, your thoughts
We're
on
about
some of
17
this? Obviously,
minutes
you work for the Human
into
Rights
the
Foundation,
time
an
Trump was
organization
supposed to
with
come
a
out and speak.
global context.
We're
This
still just
idea
waiting
that
on him.
Bitcoin
He should be out
is
any minute.
on the world stage, that it's competing or maybe moving America's interests in a direction. Your take on the former president's remarks?
Well, no, I think that this is extremely important. The reality is that a lot of policy that happens globally is copycat policy from America and the West. So the U.S. often sets the tone. We're seeing that the Biden administration and the Department of Justice had made a very negative stand towards financial privacy within Bitcoin. HRF does not think that financial privacy is a crime, and we have many examples of where activists and freedom fighters need financial privacy to protect themselves from dictators that we supposedly oppose here in the U.S. So we need to look at what we are doing and know that this affects the entire planet. And if we can make a positive turnaround here in the U.S., we are hopeful that it can change policies around the entire globe.
I think with Kamala Harris being the
off of what
VP
CK said, I
or the
really
new
wanna
pick
highlight
now,
here that as an American myself
they can
and
kind of
as a
pivot
Bitcoiner,
into being
I've worked
positive with
many
crypto.
developers,
She's
many
trying to
open source
appeal to
developers
young
throughout the
voters.
world,
So if
and their main
she came out
concern,
and was
their main
for
concern right now is
cryptocurrencies
legal
and
liability
Bitcoins, I think that would
over
really
writing
help her
open source code.
campaign.
I think America stands to gain substantially if America is a place where they can safely build any project they want to build that is open source, that is not in their control, and that they do not have legal liability for that.
It's Bitcoin 2024. We are minutes away from Donald Trump taking the stage, making history. We're going through his past remarks right now, thinking about what he might be able to say and laying out a policy vision for the United States and Bitcoin. Christian, going back to you, another quote from Trump, quote, other countries are going to have it. Let's take this maybe into his insight and thinking. Other countries are active on Bitcoin. Tell us what's going on around the world.
Country
well, the
has
reality
it.
is that Bitcoin is a permissionless system, and we are already
No,
seeing
Kamala
countries
already
like
said
Bhutan, countries
no
like
to
El
Bitcoin.
Salvador.
I'm saying in the past she did.
This technology. They
Generally,
no longer have to ask for
Democrats
permission to
don't
buy
like
treasury bonds.
cryptocurrencies,
They
but
no
I'm
longer
saying
have
now
to
that
ask
she is
permission
the
to use
presidential
US
pick,
dollar.
she
They
could
can just
pivot
mine
now
Bitcoin on their own
as
with
she
their own
tries to
resources.
present
They can
herself
accept
as this
Bitcoin. They can buy
cool
Bitcoin.
person for the
if
young
we
people.
fall
It'd be
behind
the
here
perfect
as
time for her to
Americans
pivot
in the
and say that
United
she's
States,
actually for
you know,
Bitcoin
that
and
is not gonna
all the
stop
things that
other
it can be
countries
used
that
for
see it
and
as
what
a
she's going to
benefit
do for
from
those
picking up on it,
policies.
and they stand to gain outside gains.
Of course, waiting for Donald J. Trump to take the stage. The
They found the
news
Mt.
we
Gox
broke minutes
hackers,
ago.
only
A
prosecuting
special
1 out of
guest
3.
on the way.
The
The
other 2 are in
reason for
Russia.
the delay.
Oh, man.
Talking Trump right now.
That's
talking
been a
RFK.
shit show
Want
for
to
so
switch a little
long.
bit to yesterday's remarks from Michael Saylor. Obviously, we're talking
Usual
about a high
bullshit, criminal
bar
money.
for speeches
Yeah.
at this conference. His message to the world, quote, the financial life is being sucked out of you. His plea to have the United States buy 4 million Bitcoin of the 21 million that exist in his 21-year Bitcoin forecast. Want to walk through the bear, base, and bull scenarios? His bear case for the price of Bitcoin, $3 million per coin. His base case, $13 million per coin. In his bull case, a whopping $49 million per coin.
Jesus.
In the midst of the Trump pump, we're at $69,000 today. Want to get this industry panel's reaction on these numbers. Matt, you seem happy.
I'm very happy.
We're just waiting on Trump to
I've
come
learned my
out.
lesson about making price predictions.
He should be out
I would
any
say
minute
it's
now.
probably a little bit on the bearish side without saying absolute terms. Michael Saylor is a capitalist. Donald Trump is a capitalist. Through my work at 1031, we're investors in 36 Bitcoin companies, oftentimes the lead or the exclusive investor. Most of them are based in the United States. I think at its core, we need the United States to be the leader in places where you can actually run a Bitcoin business in an ethical way, in a sound way, that you have solid foundations that you can trust. And from a government point of view, you really cannot accumulate enough Bitcoin. No matter what, there's no number that is enough. I think Bitcoin is up and to the right forever. The question is, what is the timeline? It is a scarce
see the
asset.
price
The
dip.
supply will never change as adoption increases.
68,
and then later in the adoption cycle, as
6,
human flourishing increases,
going back
or
up
GDP,
to the moon.
etc., the Bitcoin purchasing power should increase with it. So if you go by that
All right,
logic,
we're
you
working
can
our way
never
back
have
up.
enough Bitcoin, period.
Oh, damn.
So every person,
Yeah,
every company,
yeah, we're
every
coming
government
back
should
up. We're
simply
coming
stay
back.
humble and stack sats as hard as possible.
Well, of course, the script is out
When I
the
started streaming,
window
it was
here.
around
We're
69.
20 minutes over from when Donald J. Trump was supposed to take the stage.
We'll see what happens when Trump comes
we're
out.
minutes away and that a special guest is on the way. We're talking now about
Special
Michael
guest.
Saylor's bold vision for Bitcoin, his insane price predictions. I think the reaction from the chat, obviously bullish. Are these price predictions insane, Christian?
Well, you know, I am on
Here's
the
hoping
record
for your
saying that
75K,
Bitcoin
man.
is likely a paradigm shift in value.
I'm
I
hoping
think that
for
it
you.
is a better system for communicating and making economic decisions. And therefore, if you divide all the value on the planet by 21 million coins, that is not enough because it is a better system. It actually makes infinity bigger. I think Matt alluded to that. As human beings continue to flourish, infinity will get bigger. And to be honest, there is no prediction on a long enough time horizon that is bullish enough. I don't think any of us can actually be bullish enough. Our monkey brains are just not smart enough to see the new paradigm.
Monkey brains here waiting for Donald J. Trump to take the stage. Expectations high for
on,
special
Trump.
guests. Of course, the chat's roving right now with expectations of
23
who
minutes
might
late.
come
Come on,
out.
man.
We don't know, of
Let's get
course.
this
We're
going.
waiting to hear, but we know Donald J. Trump is here, that he
100K
will
in
be
September if
speaking.
there's
We're
good
now
news.
talking about
Let's go.
Michael Saylor and his price predictions for Bitcoin. We're going to take it to a short series of ads. A word from our sponsor. We'll be right back.
no
History
one
is
wants to hear about
moments
your ads.
away.
Get out of here with your ads. No one cares. All right, so we're still going up. All right, 68, almost 7. We're about to hit 7 again. Get out of here. You don't think we can hit 100K by September? I don't know, man. I'm not really big on price predictions. I don't know where this is going to go, but watching a president come out and possibly give some kind of policy announcement and seeing what the price does. The price could go down for all we know. Bitcoin never makes sense. He could come out and say the best news for Bitcoin and it just plummets. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. It could do nothing. No, those bankers are really optimistic about it. Man. Oh, it's going back down again. They must be doing everything they can to make sure that room's safe. I'm sure they've had to beef up his security. I can only imagine what it's like in that conference room. Bankster, I mean. Banksters are really optimistic about it. I mean, JP Morgan guy, what's his name? Actually, it's JP Morgan. I don't remember what his name. Well, is that who I'm thinking of? JP Morgan? He's the guy that went back and forth on it. I think it was JP Morgan that was going back and forth on it. What's Doge at? Doge is at 13 cents. You can see it in the corner over here. I don't have any Doge. I've never bought Doge. XRP holding 59. It's almost at 60. Yeah, 13 cents. Jamie Dimon is now on the Trump team. So I heard he was going to put him on his team, but then walked it back because of the backlash he was getting. But I could be wrong about that. Yeah, 68.6 is where we're at. ETH is 32.50. The BNB Prices look artificially inflated. You think so? Look at it. Pull the chart up. I mean, really, when it comes to all cryptocurrency, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, this is manipulated for sure. Let's go back. Yeah, but the guy is the key person. Right. Pepe is down, in case anyone was wondering. But Sheeb is up. Let's check out Sweep's portfolio on Binance. I don't have a Binance account. All right, looks like they're back. Bring out Trump. Come on. Delay. I'm bringing him back.
Trump to take the stage at a Bitcoin conference with a special guest who is on his way. Obviously, no more
is he
to
still
say on
fighting
that, but
that?
a great panel who is going to kind of continue to talk about what we might see.
I haven't looked at
from
that
the
one in a
former
while,
and
but I knew they were trying to go
future
after
president
him.
To my left, Matt Odell, founder of 1031 Ventures, Christian Carolus of the Human Rights Foundation, and P, podcaster extraordinaire, joining us. P, take us into the reality. What's the sentiment on the floor right now?
I mean, it is
All right, I'm going to run to the
People
restroom real
are
quick.
excited.
I don't think he's coming
They're
out
ecstatic.
just this
They
minute.
cannot wait
Be
to
right back,
hear
but I'm
what
going to
is
leave it
to
going.
happen on stage in a few minutes, hopefully.
Well, we've been talking about these three words that have the world's imagination: strategic Bitcoin reserves. The expectations are high that Trump will make an announcement, and the pressure on because of RFK yesterday coming out saying he'll waive capital gains on purchase transactions, stockpiling 4 million Bitcoin. What does the president need to say, P?
Oh, man. That is a very difficult question to answer. I mean, the world is his oyster.
Well, take me into your thoughts as a Bitcoiner, someone who supported Bitcoin for a long time. Maybe he's even competing for your vote as an American. Is there something Donald Trump can say to you today?
You know, I mean, I am extremely excited to hear what he has to say about using Bitcoin as a reserve asset, support for Bitcoiners, support for Bitcoin as a store of value. So anything in that vein would be huge and would be extremely exciting to hear today.
Of course, we're taking questions on X, Rumble, and YouTube streaming live. Send them in. We are waiting for confirmation of when Donald J. Trump will take the stage. We've talked about his policy. We've talked about Michael Saylor's Bitcoin price predictions, and we're talked about the price activity, $69,000 right now, and expectations that the Donald Trump future presidency could be good for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin price. Christian, why don't you take us in there? Is that an expectation that viewers should have?
Yeah, you know, I think that anything on the size of the United States becoming friendly and officially friendly to Bitcoin is absolutely fantastic for Bitcoin price, because that opens the door to all the innovations that is happening here. And I actually want to turn it to some reporting that I saw earlier today, which is that the Democratic Party is actually now pressuring to stop Elizabeth Warren's attack on crypto, and her siege against Bitcoin privacy and Bitcoin mining, and this pressure is actually changing Bitcoin.
I caught the
from
beginning
a
of
red
when they
issue
thought
to
he was
something
going to
that
be
is
arrested, but then after that I
apolitical, and
didn't see any
that
news.
shows
I was in a long
exactly
move.
how fighting Bitcoin is turning into a losing
Hawaii.
issue. So not only can it be a winning issue for a candidate, but opposing Bitcoin can absolutely be a losing issue.
But I guess they did arrest him. So is he in confinement right now?
Some massive splashes against some anti-Bitcoin politicians, especially ones that are incumbents who have been there for a long time, like Elizabeth Warren.
Well, of course, there's this idea floating around Washington now, new for some, that Bitcoiners are single-issue voters. Matt, are you a single-issue Bitcoin voter?
My single issue is freedom, and I've yet to see a presidential candidate in my lifetime run on that issue, and hopefully that changes soon.
P, Christian, your thoughts, is Donald Trump right now competing for your vote?
I'm gonna try and move.
I mean, he's.
the
You want to go P or I'll go. So yeah, I mean, I think that of course he's competing for everyone's vote.
The Bitcoin
you know, for me
price
personally, I have not been
down at the
someone
bottom.
who has voted for a
Let's see if it
mainstream
looks okay.
political candidate for president ever in my life. So you know, if
That
he
way we
can
don't
say
have to
the
go
right
back and
things
forth. We
and
can
he
just kinda
can
watch
make
it.
the assurances that I find to be credible for Bitcoin, it could be something that I can consider. And I think that there are a lot of Bitcoiners who are in my same shoes, a lot of people who are millennials who are in my same shoes, who have been disillusioned from the existing political conversation, and they are excited about Bitcoin, and maybe he can sway us.
Well, there's a lot of talk here about Bitcoin as a partisan issue. I'm going to back up and talk about Bitcoin as a generational issue. Maybe something that's just appealing to young people. The old timers don't get it. Pete, your thoughts on Bitcoin as a generational voting issue?
Absolutely. I think it's extremely relevant, even more so than before in this election. We've never seen Bitcoin discussed so openly, so consistently in an election cycle. And I think that's a testament to how it is becoming even more part of the mainstream conversation. It's really... it's entered the Overton window. I think, yeah, it's huge.
We're waiting for history to be made on stage. The eyes of the world on Nashville, Tennessee. People rapt about what Donald J. Trump might announce on stage. Now even more expectations of a special guest.
All right, here we go.
Guys, what are your thoughts on this special guest?
How's
Who
that
it
look?
might be? Who can take the expectations and the sentiment here even higher than it is?
I mean,
Last time I
he
checked,
might
they
hate
said
me
he
for
can
this, but
lead the U.S. in 2
Are
weeks.
we going to say
Especially-
Elon?
the special guest is
So is
worth
he
it. I
getting
think it'll be worth
charged
the
with
wait.
anything,
we
or
know, we
what's
personally know
happening
who
to
the
him?
special guest is. It's going to be well worth it.
Well, I do not know, and
I'm
I actually
completely
heard,
out
I
of
have
the
a good
loop on that
authority
one.
that it's actually a sort of genetic chimera that's been constructed of sort of a combination of Santa Claus and Elon Musk and also Abraham Lincoln combined into one.
Right.
Is that correct?
I think
Can you
that is who
clarify?
Satoshi Nakamoto is.
You're
right?
not supposed to tell them ahead of time.
I'm so sorry.
Well,
we can
let's
edit
back
this
up
out,
a little
right?
bit and talk about Satoshi Nakamoto, maybe in context of this
How about
historic
let's just
moment.
bring
We've seen
Trump
history
out
on the stage before.
instead?
Maybe this will be
We're
the most
33
historic announcement
minutes
we've
into
ever
this,
seen
and
in the
he's still
Bitcoin conference
not out
coming
here
up.
yet.
Satoshi Nakamoto, of course, the founder, creator of Bitcoin.
He's
We know
cutting
this
into other
individual
people's
is
time.
very highly motivated, a cypherpunk. He believed in privacy, believed in freedom. Matt, your take on what he would make of the idea of this conference being so political?
I
Let me pull up the
I
agenda
imagine if
too on
Satoshi's out there
Bitcoin.
somewhere.
See who's after Trump.
That the last 15 years of Bitcoin has just absolutely blown his mind, because I don't, it has just been amazing to witness personally. It has blown my mind over and over again. It is astounding to watch both the pace and progress of
We're
this
back to
movement.
68.7.
And I really do think
So we're
that
pumping again.
we could see here the beginning of the next great American
All right,
century.
so we
And
are
it's just-
Saturday.
I'm humbled to be
me
sitting here
scroll
right
down,
now as
scroll
that
down.
happens.
Talking about Satoshi Nakamoto, this Bitcoin movement was once an idea in someone's head, something that didn't exist. Christian,
We are
your thoughts, your
Saturday.
perspective.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree with Matt. Likely
me get what
Satoshi
time it
himself
is in
was not even
Nashville.
bullish enough, but he did know that he was building an
Right now
economic
it's
incentive
2:34
system
in
that was, if
Nashville.
it did catch on,
Let's
it'd be
see.
worth getting some, right? So that's the exact quote. And Pete, I mean, I would love to turn it to you. I've called you the world Satoshi expert. You've done incredible research
Trump was
into
scheduled to
everything
come out at
Satoshi.
2
I know you may be even writing a book one day.
He
I
was
mean,
supposed to
tell
do half
us,
an
what do you
hour.
think Satoshi might think?
Well, look, I think Satoshi was a person of intent. We know that because of the way he's architected this system, right? Obviously, building it with so many qualities, the 21 million limits, the cap that ensures that monetary freedom was available for everyone. But I think with Satoshi, look, if he's here, I think he.
I think they
is
really-
probably
they gave him half an
marveling
hour,
at-
but they
at what he's
blocked off a
achieved,
lot
right? I
of
don't think he
time
could have known, but it's important to
to
kind of
give
look
him,
at the
because they're
context
probably
of where
assuming
he came
Trump's
from,
gonna go
right? He
over,
saw an internet.
And
that
obviously
was
he's going over
politicized.
now.
He
So
foresaw
it's
that
already
the technology that we now
3,
use to
35
connect
my time,
could
and
be
he was going to
turned
do half an
against
hour.
us.
He's
The kinds of
already
things we're
over, but his
experiencing
speech
today
is
with
probably going to go over too.
deplatforming and privacy.
Yeah, I
These
guess
were all
Secret
things that
Service is
were of
checking
concern
everybody
to the
there.
community he
Yeah,
came
they
from,
must be.
the cypherpunks, and I think it's very
So it seems
interesting
like they
to
blocked
watch
up
really
quite a
the
bit of
headline
time.
maybe here is that the cypherpunks have entered mainstream politics maybe with the arrival of Donald J. Trump here
Let's see
today. Do
who's
you think
next
that's a fair
on the
categorization?
Nakamoto stage.
I mean,
So
I think I think the
3:35
cyberpunks
Nashville time
have been
is when
trailblazers in
Buyback
terms
was
of
supposed to come
political
out. I
freedom
kind of wanted
in
to
the
see what
United
Buyback
States
was going to say
specifically, but
too.
also globally.
I like him.
They were
I think he
leaders
was a
in the
pretty good
fight in the
Republican
early
candidate,
90s
personally.
for encryption to be the standard
Pretty
around
smart
the world
guy.
and be easily accessible.
Good
This
speaker.
idea that
So
You
I
write
might
code
stick
and you
around
opt
and
out
see
of
what
corrupt
Vivek
politics
has
in
to
order
say
to achieve your goals,
after
but
Trump.
also at the same time you engage
gonna
with
be
local politicians, you
Vivek
engage with
Ramaswamy,
ethical
Senator
governments
Marsha
in order to
Blackburn,
protect yourself
who
and
is
protect the
the
movement.
Tennessee
That was a
senator,
twofold win
and
in the
their
90s. That was a
moderator
twofold
is
win because the
going
code
to
got
be
distributed,
Natalie
the code was sound,
Brunelli,
it worked really well, but also that
who's a
governments
host
weren't
at Coin
actively
Stories,
attacking
which must
encryption.
be a
And yes,
crypto
there
show that
are
I haven't heard of.
attacks in different places around the world. We've seen
But
them
they are
recently in
going to
the
be
UK
talking
and
about
Europe, which is
Bitcoin and the
really
future of
not great to see
American
because privacy
democracy.
at
So
its core
that could be a pretty
protects
good
every
conversation.
single
I might
human
stick
on the
around for
planet.
that.
The ability to selectively reveal yourself to the world. But at the same time, if you look back at these
But I'm
last
mainly
30
here for Trump.
years, I think the early cypherpunks would be quite proud that there hasn't been major
Mainly just wanna see
transgressions,
what
at
Trump's
least
gonna have to
among
say.
Western democracies, against encryption and the different open source tools that empower freedom.
Well, I think one of the most fascinating things, Satoshi categorizing Bitcoin as an alternative to central banking, an alternative to government-run monetary systems, and here we have governments coming into the
But depending on how
conversation.
long Trump
Christian.
goes, that's
Yeah, well,
still
I mean,
like
ultimately, every single government on the planet
half an hour
runs
break.
a website. Every single government on the planet uses email. Bitcoin is actually a protocolized version of money and value and property that we can use, and it actually delivers property rights to places where it was not even possible to happen.
I haven't
under
looked into
government.
this today,
So
just got here. What
ultimately,
is it
I think
about?
that is extremely
So
bullish that
this
now governments
is
are once
the
again
Bitcoin
bending the
conference. They
knee,
usually do one
looking at
Bitcoin
technology,
conference
and then
per
ultimately
year.
having
This
to
year it's
adopt
being
it,
held
and I
at
think
Nashville,
that is Bitcoin sound
and
game theory.
the
We are
headlining
waiting for
speaker
history
is
at Bitcoin
Donald Trump. I'm
20
going to shut them out. The headlining speaker is Donald Trump, who is expected to come out any minute. He was scheduled to come out 38 minutes ago. However, with Secret Service, you have to make sure the room's clear, everything. So it's taken a while for him to come out here and actually give his speech, but he is on his way out here. Anytime now, we're expecting Trump to come out and give his speech. Now, we're watching the Bitcoin price because we're expecting maybe he's going to say some kind of policies about Bitcoin that could inflate the price of Bitcoin. It could be great for people that are trying to catch a little pump in Bitcoin, or for like me, I'm not even trying to catch the pump on this. I usually hold Bitcoin. It's just fun to look at and see what's going to happen because you don't know what he's going to say. Could be anything, could be great policy in the future. He could come out and he could just say, I'm going to pardon Ross Ulbricht, which would be a bummer for me. That if that's the only thing he comes out and says about Bitcoin, complete waste of my time. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. With Bitcoin, you don't know what the price is going to do. He could come out and say the greatest thing for Bitcoin and the price will just tank. So it's just interesting to look at it and see what's going to happen. But right now we're waiting for Trump. He's almost 40 minutes late. He's not even late. Let's not say he's late. It's that Secret Service is trying to make sure that the room's safe, right? Once they give him the okay, he'll go out on stage and do his thing. And we will see what he has to say. The price was as high as 69,000 already, but it's kind of dipped back down. People are starting to take some profits. What do you think about those ledgers that you can actually see your NFTs on? So far, this has been a great conference. I dig it.
Welcome back to the Mara News Desk, powered by Bitcoin Magazine. I'm Pete Rizzo, editor at Bitcoin Magazine. The script is out the window. The main event of Bitcoin 2024 was minutes away. We're waiting for Donald J. Trump and potentially a special guest. Expectations are high.
Who do you think he brought?
Bitcoin reserve potentially on the
his son was
table.
there.
RFK yesterday making history with an
think
aggressive
Tucker
policy
Carlson
plan,
is there too.
calling on America to stockpile 4 million Bitcoin. Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy making the same appeal. We've got a new round of panelists to discuss as we await history to happen on the Nakamoto stage. I've got Matt Odell to my left, founder of 1031 Ventures. We've got Mr. Mike Germano, president of Bitcoin Magazine, and Q Gahimi. You know him as our roving reporter on the stream. He's been around the venue, talking with people, getting into the expectations, the insights, everything that's been going on. Obviously, a big announcement on stage before the waiting period that we're now entering, that Donald J. Trump is now a Bitcoiner. The Bitcoin community banding together to gift 1 Bitcoin to Donald J. Trump. Mike, your reaction?
They gave him a physical Bitcoin. That's pretty
Rizzo,
cool.
I really appreciate you calling on me first as I came running over here from the main stage.
Well, that's because you know what happened in the room.
Yes. So, folks, one of the wonderful things that are happening here, if you not see, there's a massive line that's outside because obviously 4 weeks ago, we weren't even expecting to have a
I mean, I've seen
service.
the video. It looks absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Is there people really lined up outside the block right now?
Oh, there's people outside the block. The room is full. It's to capacity. You know, we had to once again deal with fire codes. I want to say thank you to the Secret Service that did an unbelievable job here at the event. Not only were we excited that RFK got his Secret Service detail, which he deserved, but obviously they're paying a little bit more.
Yeah, that was
President
crazy.
Trump now,
They didn't give him Secret
so,
Service.
You know, we have our expo hall.
But I
we
did
have
see it
all the main
yesterday. There's a
stages,
video
so
also on my
going through Secret
channel
Service, you actually have to go
of
through
RFK's
TSA, so I don't
speech
think
coming out. You
Bitcoiners
can
would
see
ever
the
expect
Secret
them to
Service
go
guy.
through TSA. Matt Odell's a big fan of TSA.
They
so
have him on the
That
stage,
election
and the entire time he's
2024
like this.
has
You
come
can see
to
he's just
Bitcoin
waiting for
2024.
somebody to
Q, you're
move.
joining us from the floor. You've been covering all aspects of
So
this
they are
venue.
definitely with
Maybe
heightened
take us into
security
what's
here.
happening outside right now. We're just seeing a room of energized people looking at TV screens lined up to try to get in to see Donald J. Trump, to see this special guest waiting. What are you seeing?
I mean, look, we got in here very early in the morning, and from the start, before doors were even open, people were lining up in anticipation of this talk.
Of course
People
they were. This is huge.
Immediately, they got in. They didn't want to do anything else. They went straight to the screenings, went down into the Nakamoto stage, and I saw people with books. I saw people like prepared to camp to make sure that they can just stay there all day to have seats to watch this historic event transpire. Never
This
in any
is
of
crazy.
the Bitcoin
Just think about
conferences
the
that I've
amount
been
of
to have I
money
seen
in
anything
Bitcoin
like this.
people have
We're-
there.
we're making
Oh,
it-
yeah.
Of course, the waiting is
Especially
building
if they are
expectation. Is this raising the
longtime
stakes for what Donald Trump has
Bitcoiners.
to say on stage? Mike.
He's a showman. Donald Trump's a showman, right? I mean, I'm expecting it to come out with like money, 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 money.
Yeah, there's a
like,
ton
this
of money
is-
here.
You know, this guy, you know, he's an apprentice. He's teaching us a lot. He's a showman. I think he's building up the hype. And right now,
RFK
you know, I
said
wanna
yesterday
point
that the
out Ron
majority
Paul,
of his wealth
doctor,
is in
good
Bitcoin.
doctor. He kind of ran as fast as he could over there, and he's in the hall with everybody. He got a wondrous applause when he came in. And right now, we're actually finally the live stream is being broadcasted to everybody in that room. So we want to thank everybody,
Hey, everybody.
for waiting. We are
Are they bringing it up?
We are working on it. There's obviously a lot of security,
Yeah,
which
security.
is exciting, and we are definitely not buying time up here. We're taking this very seriously.
Well,
We
we're
have this
really
all-
Yeah.
working through the issues. We're talking about the policy proposal
He's
that Trump
coming. He's
might
coming.
put forth. Of course, already a slew of public statements from Donald Trump since his reversal earlier this year on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Of course, his big issues, energy independence, coming out against CBDCs, recognizing that we're a growing industry and constituency, and really maybe the biggest one, he doesn't want to lose a foreign advantage that we might have in the international stage. Matt, why don't you take us in?
I want to see the president lead us forward on the next generation of American success. I want to
Yeah.
see America become the best country in the world to run a Bitcoin business. I want to see America become the best place in the world to be an open source developer. And I want to see America start stacking the hardest asset that the world has ever seen in a big way.
Well, a lot of talk that this might really be a 1990s moment for Bitcoin.
We look back at
really
that
the
price, it's
internet becoming
dipping hard,
mainstream
man.
During that decade, breaking through and with
68.1?
legislation in America, really
Come on.
powering economic productivity for the next decade. Q, your thoughts on how what Donald J. Trump
We're gonna
might
hit
say
67.
on stage might compare to this time period where we know America embraced innovation and could do so again.
I mean, we are bearing witness to the game theory playing out in real time. When Jack Mallers announced El Salvador adopting Bitcoin in 22, it was an incredible moment. The euphoria in that room sends chills down my spine just talking about it. I could not imagine that just 2 years later we would even be remotely having this conversation around America potentially having some sort of adoption, looking towards it. Germano's getting jumpy. Go in.
You know, the only thing I think we're talking about what Trump's going to do. There's one thing that Trump needs to do. The one thing he promised is he needs to free Ross on day one.
Right.
That is the
Oh
one thing that
man,
he
if
needs
he
to
makes
do.
that
And
his
my
number
hope
one,
is
come on.
When he gets in, he free Rosses on day one, and then when we look at Bitcoin 2025 in Las Vegas, there's only one person that everyone's going to want to see speak, and that will be Ross. So
Let's
I
talk
hope
about Ross Ulbricht, founder of Silk Road. Of course, the reason
Man,
that
they
many
really
people
try to make him
became
out to be a hero,
Bitcoiners,
and he is
maybe, Matt, you
not.
can
This
speak
dude
to
was
Ross and
selling
his importance to this
drugs.
community and why so many people champion his cause.
I mean, I think at the core of the issue here is Ross has been in jail, often in solitary confinement, for 15 years now. It was a nonviolent crime. He was running a Bitcoin-powered drug marketplace.
He tried to hire
I think
assassins
it
to
crosses
kill his
party
competitors.
lines, the fact that he has done more than enough time served. President Trump has promised to commute his sentence day one. And that's a key point there. Not
I think he's
pardon
learned his lessons
not
for sure,
say he was
though.
not guilty,
I don't, if they
but
want to pardon him,
commuted
I'm
for
not
time
against it. I don't
served.
care.
I would really
but
like to see
to make that the
I will
highlight
say
issue
that
of
that
Trump
falls
coming out,
under
no,
the context
man.
of
We want
believing
actual
a
policies.
presidential candidate's campaign promises. I will
Yeah,
say a
but
lot of
he
other things President
started
Trump can announce today.
all the Bitcoin
Actually,
thing.
he doesn't
so,
even need to
so yeah,
fulfill
he
for it to
was one of the
become a
first use
self-fulfilling
cases for
prophecy, which is
Bitcoin,
part
but to
of the
say
reason
that the
it makes it
first
such a
use case
crazy
of
moment.
Bitcoin
And the
was to
fact
buy a bunch
alone
of
that
drugs is
President
not a
Trump has
good
come down
look
to
for
Nashville,
Bitcoin.
to the largest Bitcoin
It doesn't
conference in the
help
world,
us.
to talk about Bitcoin and talk about innovation in America is a massive achievement in itself that not enough people appreciate at this moment, but they will appreciate in 2 decades. They will appreciate in 3 decades. They will look back on it and be like, that was it. That was the paradigm shift right there.
We're
price is
waiting for
starting to come
Donald
back up
J.
a little
Trump
bit more.
to take the main Nakamoto stage with a special guest. Of course, we're talking about something more somber, the freedom of Ross Ulbricht at stake in election 2024, meaningful for a country and a community, but also meaningful for family. Mike, I know you've spent time
would bet
with
money
some of
that Trump
Ross's
will
family,
come out
the
and say
Know
that
the
he will
Cause,
free
Know the
Ross.
Movement. Q, this
I
is
am
something
like
that people who have reported
99%
on,
sure
well
that
the
he's
tale
going to
of
come out
Lynn
and say that.
Ulbricht
That's going to be
and
part
the
of his
family.
speech.
Mike Q, I'm
But if
wondering
that
if
is
you
the
can speak to
only
that.
positive thing that he says, this will be
look
a
at someone who's prepared
huge
myself to think
letdown for
about
me.
not being able to see your kid is a thought I don't want to have. And so when you see Lynn and she keeps coming every year, it makes you want to do a little bit more. It makes you do the research. It makes you be willing to wear the free T-shirts, the 10,000.
I'm just saying we need
t-shirts
more
have
than that.
outside. Everybody in that auditorium right now who's wearing a T-shirt, right? They all want to see that happen too. They get to be part of this movement. And if you didn't have, a mom like Lynn, I don't
Trump
think
is going
this movement would
on
be here. And I would like to say
almost an hour.
Even at Bitcoin Magazine, every single employee.
How much years did he
free
get?
Ross
He
seems
got
to
like
creep up on
3
everything. I wanna give a shout out
consecutive
to
life
Tommy.
sentences.
Tommy, our
He will
president
never
for
be freed
Crazy
unless he's
Design,
pardoned.
Pushed free Ross
He will
everywhere.
die
Right, this has been a
in
core
prison.
advocacy push from the Bitcoin Magazine. Any issue, if you go online, subscribe now, you'll find a free Ross ad.
They,
so Mike, maybe as the
they
publisher of
hammered him
Bitcoin
for sure.
Magazine,
And
you
that's
can,
the
tell
main
us
issue that people
why
look
we've
at.
sent
They're
that
like,
message to so many people through our magazine.
was it too much?
Well, number one, it's because the magazine team.
Because basically they were trying to make
swaps
an
out
example
ad
out of
with a
him.
free Ross ad in anyway and doesn't tell me, so I don't have a choice. But I think that's what it means for once again, Ross helped a lot of us. Maybe
But when
buy
you're
our first
running
Bitcoin
a
for didn't matter
criminal
what reason, right?
empire,
and more importantly,
it's kind of what happens. You're messing with the U.S. government.
And as a publisher of a print magazine, we want to just thank all the people who subscribe to it. If you didn't do that, we wouldn't have had the money to do the long-form journalism. We wouldn't have had the money to put on this event. So we really appreciate those who believe in our cause too. And so we'd have to believe in a cause like freeing Ross.
Moments away
No,
from
he will pardon
Donald J.
Assange.
Trump
Bitcoiners
taking
love
the
him.
stage,
Maybe
we're
he does
told
both.
a special guest is on the way. We want to back up. This is a historic moment. People from around the country coming in for the first time. Mike, you mentioned Dr. Ron Paul on this stage earlier today, speaking to the hundreds of thousands of people watching, really about his personal life, his crusade against
could be Assange.
central banking, about the
Could be Ross.
monetary
Could be
policy
both.
issues that are affecting America, and of course the
But again,
economy.
I want more than
Such a
that. I want
big deal
actual
this
policy.
Year. People just feel like they can't get ahead. The TikTok videos going viral. People don't understand what's happening to them. To the average American voter who's coming to this for the first time, seeking answers, we say Bitcoin fixes this. What does this mean, Matt Odell?
I didn't realize you're going to call him in. I just want.
These dudes are buying the time
I just want
hard.
to say that
Like, man, he has
after
not
we
been out
free
here for an
Ross,
hour.
I would really like to see in the American government and across the American political spectrum, the priority be placed
Where we at?
that America becomes a
68-2?
place where code is protected
Man.
speech. I believe the Constitution already
Come on
protects
now.
it. I believe that we have developers right now that are sitting in jail, one notably being Samurai developers, that should be freed immediately, and that protections should be in place going forward so that developers of open source software, non-custodial software that does not touch money, are not treated as money transfer businesses, and that are properly treated as protected speech writers.
Q, want to take you into this conversation. Of course, central banking, monetary policy concerns around the world. Maybe take the viewers at home into your thought process here.
I mean, everyone feels it. We all see it when we go to the grocery store. We all see it when we're trying to fill up our tank of gas. We spent some time yesterday talking about this. You would be hard-pressed to find someone who has not felt the effects of our terrible monetary decisions here in America and beyond as well. It's important to also recognize the fact that while the world relies on the dollar and we have felt inflation, the rest of the world has consistently seen higher and higher inflation than what we have stateside. So if you think it's bad here, it only gets worse and worse the further out you go. I'm going to continue to hammer this point home, but the fact of the matter is we have such a financial privilege to be in America, in the country that has the global reserve currency. Most of the world, the majority of the world is unbanked, and Bitcoin is an opportunity for them to have access to money and store their wealth in a way that they just don't have.
We're going to go to a quick break now before we're bringing up another special guest, and we are still awaiting history.
Oh my
it's coming,
God,
folks.
guys.
Donald J. Trump in the building at the Bitcoin Conference in
He
Music
is
City Center
53
here in
minutes
Nashville,
late
Tennessee.
right now.
Stay with us. We'll be right back on X, YouTube, and Rumble. Stay tuned.
I thought it'd be quick.
The Bitcoin Conference.
But he's
we
gonna
started
start
with a dream to
cutting
build a community
into the
focused
other
on
guys'
Bitcoin.
time.
It all
Actually,
started in
'cause
2019 in the heart
Vivek
of San
is supposed to
Francisco,
speak
the
at
first major
3:35,
Bitcoin conference in years
and
that
it
kickstarted a
is-
revolution. And then Miami,
That's not
a
right,
place
let me
where
refresh.
enthusiasts,
It's,
developers,
2:53
streamers, and
in
innovators
Nashville.
could come together to make Bitcoin
So
better.
if he comes out,
it
he
has
gives
been
half
an
an hour
amazing
speech, and they go
5 years
directly
and 8
into
conferences. Thanks
Vivek
to all of
speaking.
you.
Maybe it'll
Bitcoin
be on
Conference
time,
has
but
become
Trump's
the
gonna
largest premier
probably
global
own that
Bitcoin
stage for
gathering
quite a
in
while.
the world, leading hyper-Bitcoinization.
Yeah, I see
While
Trump
Miami
being
was
out there
incredible,
for-
it was time to set the
If he
stage
doesn't stay for like an
Bitcoin
hour.
in a new city. So we took the
You know,
conference.
he's
on the
scheduled to
road.
speak for half an
Nashville,
hour, but
Tennessee
it's-
was the
come on,
obvious
it's
choice.
Trump.
A city
He's
known
gonna-
for music
he's gonna come
and
out there and own
freedom.
that stage.
Next year, the conference is hitting the road again.
And they're gonna let him.
Next global stage. We are headed to a new city next year. With hyper-Bitcoinization right around the corner, we have no plans to take the foot off the gas. Find out where we are headed next. Scan the QR code and be at the main stage for the big announcement.
So his son is there. I saw a video of that on X, and his son is hanging out with Tucker Carlson. They were riding some bus or train or something. So both of them are there. When they're talking about Trump coming out with a special guest, I'm assuming it's probably one of those guys, but I don't know. It could be anyone. Yeah. Probably Tucker is who I'm thinking the special guest is, but we'll see.
This is Mara, taking Bitcoin mining to the cutting edge of energy solutions. We're monetizing excess hydro energy in Paraguay, turning waste into value by reducing landfill emissions, and
Mara is their
recycling
big
data center
sponsor this
heat
year.
to warm communities in Finland. With Mara, we're building the base layer of a sustainable future. To learn more, visit Mara.
I don't know what happened. The stream mic. What the hell? Let me refresh.
Bitcoin
There we go.
can make the world a better place.
What the hell? They shut it down. Oh, I'm looking in the chat. They shut it down. So I guess it's not just me. Something's actually wrong with the stream. Uh-oh. This is such a fail. Come on, man. Oh, we're never gonna see Trump. Matrix attack. Hacked. Stream down. Trump So much fun. Well, hopefully they can fix their stream. Let me refresh again. Come on, let's go.
Bitcoin can make the world a better place.
Yeah, they completely lost their stream. Great. It's broken. Hopefully they realize their stream is down. Kamala closed the event. Yeah. Oh man, probably. Oh, you're gonna campaign Trump? Not today, son. Boop. They even said in the chat too, Kamala hacked it. Oh, it's starting to rain outside. Yeah, okay. BTC is already dumping. I mean, he's kind of right, I guess. I wouldn't call this a dump. It's down. We're 68.1 now, almost 68.2. It's not looking good. Oh, look, the stream's not even live anymore, so they took it down.
And is for everyone.
Oh yeah, completely down.
Base layer of a sustainable future. To learn more, visit
They stopped it. All right, maybe they have a new one up though. Let's go back. Holy crap. What a fail. Right as Trump's coming out, like your headline speaker, your stream goes down.
And is for everyone.
These idiots.
Taking Bitcoin mining to the cutting edge of energy solutions. We're monetizing.
So surely they're going to bring it back up. They have Trump. Their sponsors are going to make so much money just from the people tuning in. Look at the live tab. Nothing. You gotta be kidding me, guys. I have to go back to the chat and see what they're saying.
And is for everyone.
So what are they gonna do? Back upstream? Hopefully. This dude just posted something. I'm scared to bring it up. Let me check their page again. Live, maybe. Nope, still nothing. He posted this.
This can't. They have to respect
Oh,
us. They have
he's
to
already on
respect- They
stage.
cannot do this. They cannot do this. What they did just now with that attack is terrible. Just happened.
These idiots.
And so to all, God bless everybody. This is so serious. They have to respect our country. This would never have happened with us, and we just cannot let it continue.
I guess we're gonna go with
So
Right Side
we just wish
Broadcast
them all
Network.
a lot of luck. This happened to us as I'm walking on the stage. You probably, most of you have heard about it, but it just, it's a terrible thing. But I'm thrilled to be here in Nashville to become the first American president ever to address a Bitcoin event anywhere in the world.
Yay! No taxes for Bitcoin. Let's go. Let's go.
Anywhere in the world. I want to thank David Bailey for inviting me. Special guy. You know, this whole love affair sort of started, David, about 4 months ago, was at Mar-a-Lago. I took a picture with him. I mean, he's a nice-looking guy. He's okay. He's out here someplace. But I took a picture, it got published, Trump and David Bailey. All of a sudden, your industry went through the roof. So, David, congratulations. Whatever the hell you do, you did a hell of a job. But as well as all of the Bitcoin luminaries and legends here, you have a legends in this room. They really are. Congratulations. Would the legends please stand up? Oh, everyone's standing anyway. That's nice. I used to say, sit down, everybody, sit down. But it's nice when they stand, including Tyler and Cameron. Do you know who that is? Winklevoss. These are great guys. They look like male models with a brain, you know? They're male models with a big, beautiful brain. Michael Saylor is here.
Michael Saylor.
Kathy Wood. Ron Paul and Rand Paul are here. Vivek is here. Vivek Ramaswamy. Where's Vivek?
That's what I want to see.
Where are you, Vivek? There he is. He's great. A man that I call Bob, but you probably know him as Kid Rock. Where's Kid Rock? Where is he? He's great.
He brought all his friends.
He's a good guy and a talented guy and another talented guy. He was so incredible, this one. He went and he played at the funeral of a great fireman who was killed, fire chief, killed a week and a half ago at the rally. And Billy Ray Cyrus went and played music for the family, and it was supposed to be so incredible. I've heard so many things about it. And Billy Ray Cyrus is here. Where's Billy Ray? He's around here someplace. And he's great. He's a conservative guy. Said, how did you get such a liberal daughter? How did that happen, Billy Ray? And by the way, Kid Rock was incredible at the convention. You probably saw him. You saw him? He was great.
I saw
it.
He was great. I don't know if he was incredible, though.
Another one, Jake Paul.
I'm not a Kid Rock
want to
fan.
fight this guy. You know, you don't want to fight. He's got a big fight coming with Mike Tyson, but he's glad he didn't fight Mike when Mike was 19. He told me that today. But he's a fantastic guy, very talented guy in a lot of ways. Governor Joe Lombardo, who's fantastic, and we're doing well in his state. And he's going to make sure that there's no hanky-panky going on. And if that happens, we're going to win his great state. But you know who he is, and he's a fantastic governor. Senators Bill Hagerty, Marsha Blackburn, Cynthia Lummis,
We saw her yesterday.
Scott.
Yeah, both of them yesterday.
And Tim was great. Boy, I'll tell you, he was such a strong voice for me. He was on so many shows and did such a great job. During the primaries, he was incredible. I want to thank him. Special guy. They're all special people. They're warriors. Tommy Tuberville. You know Tommy Tuberville, senator from Alabama. And you have many members of Congress, Andy Ogles, Thomas Massey, John Rose, Mark Green and French Hill, and the next U.S. Senator from Ohio. I hear he's doing very well, Bernie Moreno. Where is Bernie? I hear Bernie's doing well. The great Laura Loomer. Some of you know Laura.
Price isn't doing much right now.
Fantastic person, great woman.
68,
and
3
a tremendous
almost.
developer from New York and Florida, one of the best, Steve Witkoff, and he's got his son Alex with him today. That's an incredible family, development family. They've been supporters from the beginning. Howard Lutnick, Cantor Fitzgerald, incredible, one of the truly brilliant men of Wall Street.
The special guest is Musk, I think.
And
that would be
a whole
cool.
group of his distinguished
if they bring out
guests
Musk,
and a lot of our
that'd be
distinguished
pretty
guests.
awesome.
We have a lot of other people here, and I won't bother anymore. That's enough. Because we have to talk about crypto.
Yeah,
we have to talk about Bitcoin. We have to talk about all these great companies.
Talk about no taxes on Bitcoin. Let's go.
But our country is blessed to have the extraordinary talent, energy, and genius represented in this room. It really is great genius. Not all of you, but most of you. Many of you. But this is the kind of spirit that built America, and this is the spirit that's going to help us make America great again. That's what we're doing. I stand before you today filled with respect and admiration for what the Bitcoin community has achieved. It's incredible, actually. I sort of say to my sons, it's like incredible because they know so much about it. They're so aware of it, much more so than people that are a little bit older. But I say this is the steel industry of 100 years ago. It really is. I think you're just in your infancy. I can see it happening. In just 15 years, Bitcoin has gone from merely an idea posted anonymously on an internet message board to being the 9th most valuable asset anywhere in the world. Can you believe that? Is that right?
Let's go.
That's a big deal. Think of that. It's already bigger than ExxonMobil. Soon it will be surpassing the entire market cap of silver. It's not bad. How about gold? How about gold? Let's go gold.
If only we could do that.
And one day it probably
Rub it
will
in Peter
overtake
Schiff's face.
gold, but based on the way it's going now, it could very well be a possibility. There's never been anything like it, and I don't think you've ever seen anything like it. And most people have no idea what the hell it is. You know that, right? So what happens when they figure it out? That's going to really be something. Bitcoin is not just a marvel of technology. As you know, it's a miracle of cooperation and human achievement and a lot of relationships that are formed. I just did a meeting, a roundtable with a lot of the leaders, and it's amazing. There's a great camaraderie. It's really interesting. There's competition, but there's a relationship, there's a friendship that's developed with a lot of these people. I noticed it. I don't usually see that too often. I see the opposite, actually. They want to get each other. They want to kill each other. These guys have a great feeling. Very smart people, too. Congratulations on all that you've accomplished. This room is amazing. The people in this room, high IQ individuals. I'm running against a low IQ individual. Her.
What if he doesn't announce
I'm not
anything?
even talking about him. Her. I got a low IQ
He just comes out here and
individual.
campaigns.
The reason I've come to address the Bitcoin community today can be summed up in two very simple words: America first. Because if we don't do it, China's going to be doing, others are going to be doing it. Let's do it and do it right. My vision is for an America that dominates the future. We have the best economy, the highest standard of living, the safest and most beautiful cities. And by the way, when I say safest, our cities are going to hell right now.
Here we go.
Our cities are going to hell. We're going to fix our cities. We're going to work with Democrats that have destroyed our cities, but we'll work with them, and we're going to get our cities back. We're going to bring our country back.
The price is moving back up.
And we really were
68.4.
the freest and the most ambitious, most dynamic nation ever to exist on Earth, and we're going to get that back again because we're not there now. We're a nation in decline. You know it. We know it. Doesn't sound nice. But it's okay because we're going to bring it back. We're going to bring it back fast. Right now, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing what's happened. Even today, when you look at what we just said, that would never have happened if they respected our country. If we don't embrace crypto and Bitcoin technology, China will, other countries will. They'll dominate, and we cannot let China dominate. They are making too much progress as it is. And we want them to be successful. I don't want China to be successful, but we have to be the most successful. That's what's going to happen.
They don't have all the ads.
I want the
they're back
United
live.
States to be first in technology, first in science, first in manufacturing, first in artificial intelligence, and first in space. You know,
I'm going to switch back to
at MIT, my
the
uncle
Bitcoin stream.
was a professor.
Or Bitcoin magazine stream. Real quick. Go here. Refresh. This one. Play. Just because this one doesn't have ads.
Actually, that's why I mentioned it. And I believe
there
he
we
was
go.
the longest serving professor in the history of MIT. He graduated. We have a very intelligent family, actually. He graduated tremendously. I think he has 3 different degrees, but they said, would you like to stay on, John, and be a professor? Well, I've got a lot of offers, I assume he said, but I've got a lot of offers. Well, we'd like... He was there for, I believe, 41 years. When I was in the White House, the head of MIT came to see me, and they presented me with a book on my uncle. He was a legendary guy in the academic world and in the world of MIT. So I understand a lot about what you're doing, and I have great respect for highly intelligent people.
All right.
And you are highly intelligent. America's destiny is to lead our rivals in everything and to surrender our industries to no one. To no one. You know, some of you are involved with AI, but you also have the same thing. You need a thing called electricity. You need a lot of electricity. You know, AI needs to be really dominant. And China can do it much easier. We have environmental impact statements to do, but we're going to do things that nobody thought were possible. You need tremendous amounts of electricity. You need double the electricity of the entire electricity that we have right now in the United States to dominate. And we'll get that done. Who would think we can get that done? But we're going to get it done. We'll be having power plants built at the sites. We'll be releasing people from certain ridiculous requirements. And we'll be using fossil fuel to make electricity because we're going to have to. We'll be using nuclear. We'll be doing it in an environmentally friendly way. But we will be creating so much electricity that you'll be saying, please, please, President, we don't want any more electricity. We can't stand it. You'll be begging me, no more electricity, sir.
Price
we
is
have
moving
enough,
back down.
We have enough. You know, in the Midwest, they just opened, it was very interesting, they just opened up 2 chargers, you know, a charger for the electric cars. And you know, I love Elon, he's great, he endorsed me and great endorsement and everything else, but not everybody has to have an electric car, I told him that. So we're going to get rid of that mandate, if you don't mind. Some people want gasoline-propelled cars. Some people want a hybrid. And some people like an electric car. They're great. I think they're great. I think what he's done is great. I think he understands it. I guess he probably wouldn't have endorsed me. He knows where I am in this. But he did, and it's just like they did these chargers in the Midwest. There are 8 of them. They spent $9 billion to build 8 chargers to charge up a car. And at that rate, it would cost approximately $12 trillion to put the chargers around. Somehow that's not working. The country would have to file for Chapter 11. We'll do a chapter, you know, it's called Chapter 7 instead of a Chapter 11, but it's the equivalent. No, we have to use our brain. We have to be, we are the party of common sense, okay? We have to have common sense.
Wait, what just
but
happened?
What we do have to do is we have to produce tremendous electric
67.9.
AI and for all of the other things, including the things that you're doing, and we'll get it produced, and we're going to get it produced fast. Or
What
we're not
is
going to
going
be
on
able
with the
to
price?
compete with China and other countries. So we're going to get it
Oof.
produced fast.
Oh,
This
crashing.
afternoon, I'm laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world, and we'll get it done.
People are taking profits.
If crypto is going to define the future, I want to be mined, minted, and made in the USA. It's going to be. It's not going to be made anywhere else. And if
We're down.
Bitcoin is going to the moon, as we say, it's going to the moon. I want America to be the nation that leads the way, and that's what's going to happen. No, you're going to be very happy with me. You're going to be so happy. You're going to say he's the greatest guy. That's why I'm proud to be the first major party nominee in American history to accept donations in Bitcoin and crypto.
Okay.
And they've made a lot of them, I might tell you, and I appreciate it. Since we made that announcement on May 21st, we have already raised $25 million, much of it in Bitcoin, crypto, and others that are very, very good also. But as you know, our excitement about the future of Bitcoin and crypto could not be more difficult from the approach of our opponents. Can't be, look, our opponents have gone a difficult route. They're going old-fashioned stuff. We're going to take it right down the middle. We are so different from anybody else in terms of a campaign. First of all, we understand it. They don't understand it. They are blocking your path. They're blocking your way. But I've made it a lot easier for you because the SEC has been very, very tough on you. And now they see that you've embraced me. All of a sudden, people that were under investigation, they're being let go. They're saying, oh, no, we don't want to do that. We love crypto. Let me tell you, if they win this election, every one of you will be gone. They will be vicious. They will be ruthless. They will do things that you wouldn't believe. But right now, because of me, they're leaving you alone. So please say thank you, President Trump. Thank you very much. And the reason they're doing that is I've heard from some of your great geniuses that talk to me about this subject. I've heard from Vivek. 175 million people in some form are involved with this world of crypto and Bitcoin and all of the others, 175 million. So when they heard that, they said, let's be nice to them at least until after the election. So I've taken a lot of pressure off a lot of people. A lot of people are very happy today that about 3 months ago weren't so thrilled. For 3.5 years, is that right? Look, he just said that's right. And you know it's right. For 3.5 years, the current administration has waged a war on crypto and Bitcoin like nobody's ever seen before. For those who work in this industry, they target your banks, they choke off your financial services. Have people seen that? Yes? Yeah, they have. Plenty of hands up. They block ordinary Americans from transferring money to your exchanges. They slander you as criminals. But that happened to me too, because I said the election was rigged. He said the election was rigged. He should spend the rest of his life in jail for making that statement. Of course, they say it about us, and it's okay, right? No. And by the way, we're doing very well in the election. You know, we lost a candidate recently, crooked Joe Biden.
Now we're going to go on about Joe Biden.
We lost this wonderful person. You know, he's actually a terrible human being, if you want to know the truth, so don't feel sorry. And we have another he's a worse human being, and I sort of made an analogy last night. Last night, think of this, I was speaking in front of a very powerful and very strong, very religious group, Christians, evangelicals, Christians. And then today I come in front of Bitcoin, and now I'm going to Minnesota to do a rally. You think my life is so great, don't you, huh? But I cover a lot of territory. I go from religion to Bitcoin to a rally. And I don't get it mixed up like other people do.
All right, so what are you going to do for Bitcoin?
Where they come out and they say, may God bless everybody involved in the Bitcoin world. But actually, we mean that because you need blessing, because you've got to do something very spectacular. But we had an incredible time last night talking to Christians, largely Christians, a Christian group. And this is so great. And then we have a very big rally in Minnesota. Hasn't been one since 1972. Richard Nixon, can you believe it? And I think we're leading Minnesota. But there's some hanky-panky that goes on in Minnesota. But I think we're doing good. So we're going to leave here. We're going to go there for a big rally. But this is such an honor to be with you. Sadly, when we see the attacks on crypto, it's a part of a much larger pattern that's being carried out by the same left-wing fascists who weaponize government against any threat to their power. They've done it to me. Did you see I just won the big case in Florida? Thank you very much. The big case. Thank you very much. Good.
A lot of Republicans there.
Now, it's a big case. That was the document case. I have Presidential Records Act on my side. Biden didn't. By the way, Biden, they said, here's what they said. They said, he's guilty as hell, but we're not going to charge him because he's incompetent. I won the case the old-fashioned way. It's called you win. I wouldn't have wanted to win the way he won. Trump won the case because they called him incompetent. Think of this. So they called him incompetent. So he's incompetent to run for trial, to stand trial, but he's not incompetent to run the country. How does that work? But he's not doing it anymore because he didn't do particularly well in the debate. Did anybody watch the debate? Not too many people.
Trump, you're killing the price of Bitcoin.
Somebody said to me, you did horribly in the debate. I said, why? I said, because there's no way he can continue forward. That's how bad he was. He said, I understand that, and that's exactly what happened, actually. We had a great debate. It was a tremendous debate, actually, and since then, hey, look, you have to open the eyes. You have to see what's going on. We have a country to run. The problem is that Kamala is worse than Joe. She's worse. She's a radical left lunatic, defund the police, all of the different things. And so far she's got a little honeymoon going on right now, but when people hear about her, and she's against crypto, by the way, and she's against it very big. So I just want to let you know, you got to get out. You got to get out and vote. It should be no surprise that these same totalitarians are hell-bent on crushing crypto and obliterating, and that's what they want to do, and that's what they are stated. They're there right now. You have the SEC, you know what they're doing, obliterating Bitcoin. The reason could not be more clear, because Bitcoin stands for freedom, sovereignty, and independence from government, coercion, and control. The
We're going to break
Biden-Harris
67,000.
repression of
We're
crypto
dropping
and
rapidly.
Bitcoin is wrong, and it's very bad for our country. It's really quite un-American. As you know, 6 days ago, we officially defeated the worst president in the history of the United States. I believe he was the worst president in the history of the United States. Think of it. Millions and millions of people have come into our country. They've come in from jails. They've come in from, think of it, insane
Keep the faith,
asylums,
bro.
mental institutions.
I'm trying.
They've come in as terrorists. We have the largest
67-1?
number of terrorists coming into our country right now. The same people that you just heard about from Israel, that did that in Israel, they're coming in and nobody checks them. Nobody knows what's going on. We have no idea what's going on. They've lost control of our country, and only bad things can happen. So it's not going to be that way. We're not going to let that happen. We're beating them, and we're beating them badly, and we have to make sure that we do. We need to do it for our country. And you can't just be a fighter and have your man lose the fight, or woman, but in this case, a man. He's losing the fight. He's down by 15, 16, 17 points. They say that you're not going to win, Joe. You got to get out. He didn't want to get out. He said, I'm not getting out. He said, you're getting out. He said, I'm not getting out. I got 14 million votes. I'm not getting out. They said, if you're not getting out, we're going to institute the 25th Amendment on your mental competence. He said, like I said before, I think I'm going to get out. Okay? And they got him out. But it's like, think of this. You fight, you're in a campaign. You spend a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and he's losing. And then they say, let's take him out of the fight. We'll put a new fighter in there. The new fighter is her, probably my second choice. He will always be my first choice, but she'd be my second choice. And again, if we don't win this race, and I know you're not that political, but you have to be political because your whole thing, I mean, you have a lot of politics involved in what you do. If we don't win this race, this country could be finished as we know it. This country is going to be in bad shape, and we have to be in there. We have to fight, and we have to win. And I pledge to the Bitcoin community that the day I take the oath of office, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's anti-crypto crusade will be over. It will end. It'll be done.
And you're going to do what?
The moment I'm sworn in, the persecution stops and the weaponization ends against your industry. And as long as I'm in the Oval Office, Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, do you remember? Yes, I'm an Indian. Yes, she said, I'm an Indian. Why are you an Indian? You don't look like an Indian. No, my mother told me I have high cheekbones.
67-0.
That's why she was an Indian.
We're dropping.
So I named her Pocahontas. Elizabeth Warren and her goons, and she's very nasty to you. She hates your people. She hates everything about you. Will keep their hands off Bitcoin. They're going to keep their hands off crypto. They're going to let it grow. We're going to let it grow. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC.
There you go. Yeah, fire Gary. Okay, now we're talking. Bring it back around. Get rid of his punk ass.
I didn't know he was that unpopular.
There you go. Yep. Okay, we're talking. We're talking.
Wow. I didn't know he was that unpopular.
Yeah.
Let me say it again. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler.
All right, okay. All right. Check that out. The price going back up. There we go. Come on. He should have been fired a long time ago.
And we'll appoint a new SEC chairman who believes America should build the future, not block the future, which is what they're doing.
There we go.
And Kamala Harris wants to make him Treasury Secretary. That's not good. That's
The
not
price
good.
liked that one
He
for
was
sure.
Hillary Clinton's finance person. Did you know that? Crooked Hillary. Remember Crooked Hillary? Do you remember her? Anybody remember? He was the finance chairman of Hillary Clinton's campaign against a gentleman known as Donald Trump. Not a popular person within the... Actually, she came to my wedding. Do you know that? To our great First Lady, Melania. She came to our wedding. And Bill came to our wedding. But it's amazing things when you run for office, a lot of things change in your life. A lot of things change. As president, I will immediately shut down Operation Choke Point 2.0. They want to choke you. They want to choke you out of business. We're not going to let that happen. And no longer will your government sit by and watch as Bitcoin jobs and businesses flee to other countries because America's laws are too unclear and too tough and too angry and too stiff. We will keep each and every Bitcoin job in the United States of America. That's what we're going to be doing. Upon taking office, I will immediately appoint a Bitcoin and crypto presidential advisory council. Would anybody like to be on that particular council? Please raise your hand. Their task will be to design transparent regulatory guidance for the benefit of the entire industry, and they will get it done in 100 days. We will have regulations, but from now on, the rules will be written by people who love your industry, not hate your industry, people that want to make it clear and simple, straightforward and fair, people that want to see your industry thrive, not dive.
So I didn't know what Operation Choke Point
Next, I will
was. It's
immediately
a
order the
concerted
Treasury
government-backed effort
Department
to
and other
discourage
federal
traditional finance
agencies to
institutions
cease
from
and
servicing
desist
the
all
crypto
steps
industry.
necessary, because you know there's a thing going on in your industry. They want to move the creation of a central bank digital currency. It's over. Forget it.
Yeah, down with the CBDCs.
CBDC. There will never be a CBDC while I'm president of the United States.
Right on.
And I will always defend the right to self-custody.
There we go.
Self-custody.
Self-custody
You're gonna
and
have a great industry.
no taxes,
You're
right?
going to have a great industry, and we're going to be fuel for your industry, not demolish your industry. America will once again be a nation that protects property rights, privacy, freedom of transaction, freedom of association, and freedom of speech. We're going to we're going to go back to the old days when we were a nation that was building, not a nation that was eating itself alive from within. As part of our effort to provide regulatory clarity, we will create a framework to enable the safe and responsible expansion of stable coins. Do you know what a stable coin is? Does anybody know? Please raise your hand.
You got a Bitcoin conference. They don't care about stable
Allowing
coins.
us to extend the dominance of the U.S. dollar to new frontiers all around the world. America will be richer, the world will be better, and there will be billions and billions of people brought into crypto economy and storing their savings in Bitcoin. So that's the way it is. That's pretty much the way it is. Those who say that Bitcoin is a threat to the dollar have the story exactly backwards. I believe it is exactly backwards. Bitcoin is not threatening the dollar. The behavior of the current U.S. government is really threatening the dollar.
That's fair.
The danger to our financial future does not come from crypto. It comes from Washington, D.C.
So now we're going to back the dollar with
It comes
crypto.
from trillions of dollars in waste, rampant inflation, and open borders while giving welfare and free health care to all of the illegal aliens that are pouring into our country by the millions and millions and millions. It comes from printing hundreds of billions of dollars to fund endless wars overseas while our cities are like combat zones here at home. 2 weeks ago in Chicago, 117 people were shot and 17 died. Afghanistan doesn't have anything like that. You know, you think about tough places. Look at what's happening with our cities. What's happening in the last 3 years, last 3.5 years. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Think of it, 117 over 4th of July weekend, 117 people were shot and 17 died. This is the United States of America? I don't think so. By the way, when I was president, we had no wars. We had no new wars. We didn't start any. Remember when Hillary said, he'll start wars. Look at his personality. No, I said, my personality will keep us out of wars. But we finished off some of the old ones like ISIS, which they said would take 5 years to do, maybe more. We did it in 4 weeks. We beat ISIS in 4, because we have a great military. And it's not a woke military, by the way. Maybe some of the people on top are woke, but this is not a woke. I got to see that first when I looked at what they did and what they did for me, they were unbelievable. They did things that nobody thought were possible.
We're holding
Our
63
real
or
generals
67-3.
and our soldiers, there's no woke. They're trying to get them to be woke.
Starting to stabilize.
These people are not going to go woke, I can guarantee you that. With your support this November, we will restore competence and we will restore common sense to our nation's capital. Because ultimately, it is about, it's not, are you conservative? Are you liberal? Are you progressive? They like progressive. It sounds so nice, right? It'll destroy our country. It's actually become a terrible word. It'll destroy our country. But it's not about that. It's about common sense. We want to bring common sense back in. This is all common sense that we're talking about today. And Bitcoin and crypto will skyrocket like never before, even beyond your expectations, and you are the people that are doing it. As we stop the war on crypto, we will immediately, and we'll do this very quickly, begin to build our economy, because when America is prospering, Bitcoin is soaring, and it'll go up with it. We had the greatest economy ever, and we will soon have it again. Under the Trump administration, the typical middle-class family income rose by $6,000 a year. People don't like mentioning that. America had more money to save than at any time in many decades. As a result, during my 4 years in office, now you have to listen to these numbers. These numbers are like beautiful. And I don't want to repeat myself. Listen to these numbers. As a result, during my 4 years in office, Bitcoin surged by 3,900%, from $898 the day I took office to $35,900 the day I left. That was the biggest jump, I guess, in just about any industry. Think of that. Now compare that to just after 3.5 years of Biden and Harris, adjusted for inflation, Bitcoin is up 50%. Now, 50% sounds good, but not when you're comparing it to almost 4,000%.
And XRP
right?
still can't get a pump.
50%. You know, normally you'd say, oh, that sounds pretty good. Let's not put that into the speech. No, 50% is not good. When people can't afford groceries or rent, they have no savings to store in Bitcoin. This administration caused the biggest inflation in the history of our country, and that's what's happened. Our people are being wiped out. From the very first day we take back the White House, we will replace the Biden-Harris economic stagnation with a brand new Trump economic boom. You're going to have a tremendous boom. You know, you have a lot of great analysts out there, Scott. I'm talking about you, Scott, one of the greatest of all, and others that say the stock market's going up because they think Trump is going to be elected. And if Trump isn't elected, this country's going to go into a depression the likes of what you had in 1929. And I hope that's not true, but I can understand it, and I can understand what they're saying. The stock market gain, they think, is because looks like we're going to win the election. And I don't know what's going to happen with the election. You know, they cheat like hell, and I don't know what's going to happen. But if we win it, this country is going to be boomtown. It's going to be booming like it never boomed before. The current administration's economic plan includes trillions in new spending and $5 trillion tax hikes. They want to increase taxes by $5 trillion. They want the expiration of the Trump tax cuts to take place. They want a wealth confiscation tax so that when you make all of your money that you're going to make and all of the people you're going to employ, they want to take away your money in the form of a first-time ever tax.
Here we go.
And a gigantic capital gains tax
No
that
taxes.
will exceed substantially in many states over 50%. My plan is the opposite. We will lift the workers and we will create savers out of so many people, and we will reward success. We will not punish success. They want to punish success. They want to punish genius. Not going to let that happen. I will make the Trump tax cuts permanent and deliver massive tax cuts for families and individuals and businesses that produce jobs. That includes no tax on tips. You know that, right?
Come on, man. I thought he was going to say Bitcoin.
Tax on tips. I will cut unnecessary and burdensome regulations, fight every day to make America the best place on earth to build a business, including a crypto business. It's going to be the best place. You're not going to have to go to China. You're not going to have to learn, gee, how do I learn Chinese? I want to learn it very quickly. I have a little granddaughter that speaks fluent Chinese. Can you believe it? And it's a wonderful thing, but it's not easy, but you're not going to have to do it. Most importantly, for our citizens, we will end the inflation nightmare that this administration has created, and we will end it quickly. It's got to end. It's destroying our country. You know, inflation is a country buster. You can go back many, many years to Germany, and you look at what happened to Germany during their huge period of inflation, destroyed the country. It's a country buster. The Bitcoiners, and I say to you that you recognize the dangers of inflation long before most others did. You understood inflation, frankly, better than anybody else. You know that, don't you? If only they had listened. They didn't listen to you. They didn't listen to you. The trillions of dollars in ridiculous waste approved by our opponents resulted in the very inflation disaster that Bitcoiners had always predicted. 20, 30, and even 40% of the value of every dollar was wiped out, and wiped out quickly. You understood that, but a lot of other people didn't. The life savings of millions of Americans was rapidly destroyed. And very simply, uncontrolled inflation is a stealth taxation of the middle class. It really is. It's a stealth taxation. I call it the Biden tax. Now I'll call it the Harris tax, or the Harris-Biden tax, or whatever the hell we're going to call them. But it's a disaster. It's a tax of 50%. It's a 50% tax. Inflation, think of it.
Going down again.
It's a 50% tax on people, 50. This is a human tragedy, and it's destroyed people. It's a national disgrace. It's destroyed everything in its way. It must never be allowed to happen again, and it won't. When I'm president, I guarantee you it won't happen, because we're going to do things that make sure it doesn't happen. They've allowed pricing to get totally out of control. We're going to do energy, bring it down to levels that people have not seen in many, many years. We had it at levels. We were at $1.87 for a gallon of gasoline. You don't see that right now. For 4 straight years, under my leadership, we had effectively no inflation, none. When I left office, it was 1.4%, and then it stayed there for almost 2 years. Remember when Biden said it was 9? I inherited 9%. That was just another lie. Misinformation, disinformation. We gave them a hot country. We went through the COVID. We did an incredible job. Never got credit for that. Always got credit for the economy, for the military. We rebuilt the military. We created Space Force. We did so many different things. Never got credit for that. You know what? We gave them a great country with essentially no inflation.
That everything
and after 2 years, they drove this country, and they
there's probably a lot of Bitcoin miners
through the roof.
in the
2
audience.
years, cost of living went up in some cases by over 50%. And they say 22%. They like to say 22, but it could be much higher, and it is much higher depending on what they include. They don't include things like interest rates that went from 2.5% to 10%, but you can't get the money. When I return to the White House, I will stop the wild and wasteful spending of this administration. I will end the endless wars. They never stop. Again, we had no wars. We had no new wars under your favorite president, President Trump. We had no new wars. They thought I was going to start a war. Let me tell you something. I'm going to stop World War III.
We're dangerously close to breaking 67.
World War III than we've ever been since the end of World War II. I will seal the border and stop the invasion of millions of people pouring into our country illegally.
That's the catch with high electricity costs and like China would run nodes for cheap.
We will defeat
exactly.
inflation, and together we will bring back the American dream for
trying to run your own miner right now is
race,
impossible
religion,
because
color,
electricity is
and
too
creed.
high.
We will bring
The
it
cost
back,
of the
the
machines are too
American
high.
dream.
It's just not worth
You
it
don't even
anymore.
You don't even hear the statement American dream anymore. You don't hear those words anymore. We used to talk about the American dream. A lot of you people are in the American dream, but you're going to be crushed if you don't elect me. I hate to tell you. You don't elect me, you're going to be crushed. You're going to say, Alice, what a mistake it was. We went for a person who has no talent. She's been a failure at almost everything she's done instead of Trump. And look at us now. We're going to move into an extremely small house from our beautiful house. But we will end the war on American energy, and we will very simply drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We have to. It's what we have. We have more liquid gold under our feet than any nation in the world, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia. We don't use it.
So if you want the U.S. to leave,
We don't use it.
electricity
They
should
use
be
it. We
cheap.
don't use it. We go out and buy oil from Venezuela. It's amazing. But we won't stop there.
Which is what he's campaigning on, is bringing the cost of energy down.
Forms. I have set the ambitious goal that by the end of my term, the United States will be the #1 lowest cost of energy and electricity of any nation on earth. We can make it so inexpensively.
The lowest cost
Because
of energy.
of what we have under our feet, we can make it so inexpensively. And with low energy costs, America will become the world's undisputed Bitcoin mining powerhouse. You'll be a Bitcoin mining powerhouse. You will not have to move your family to China.
Damn.
You will not be moving to China. As we implement these reforms, Bitcoin and crypto will grow our economy, cement American financial dominance, and strengthen our entire country long into the future. Many Americans do not realize that the United States government is among the largest holders of Bitcoin. Does anyone know that? How about that? The federal government is almost 210,000 Bitcoin, or 1% of the total supply that will ever exist.
So we're going to
But
buy
for
more.
Too long, our government has violated the cardinal rule that every Bitcoiner knows by heart: never sell your Bitcoin, right? That's right, isn't it, huh? That's right. How did I figure that one? Never sell your Bitcoin. And so, as the final part of my plan today, I am announcing that if I am elected, it will be the policy of my administration, United States of America, to keep 100% of all the Bitcoin the U.S. government currently holds or acquires into the future. We'll keep 100%. I hope you do well, please.
Okay. I mean, good for
This will
price
serve in
stability.
effect as the core of the strategic national Bitcoin stockpile. As you know, most of the Bitcoin currently held by the United States government was obtained through law enforcement action. You know that. They took it from you. Let's take that guy's life. Let's take his family, his house, his Bitcoin. We'll turn it into Bitcoin. It's been taken away from you because that's where we're going now. That's where this country is going. It's a fascist regime. And so as I take steps to transform that vast wealth into a permanent national asset to benefit all Americans, today I repeat my pledge to commute the sentence of Ross.
There we go. Price is back up. Oh, there we go. With Ross. Price.
It's enough.
Huge jump in price.
It's enough.
I knew he was going to say that, though. No big deal.
That's where we are as a country. Ultimately, my promise to each and every one of you is this. I will be the pro-innovation
This is the
and
deal.
pro-Bitcoin
GC69
president that
again.
America needs and our citizens deserve.
Let's see if it pumps more.
This will be one industry, but this will be a thriving industry, a great industry.
It's moving
and
up.
I'm going to be doing the same thing for every other industry also. Our nation has never thrived by trying to censor new ideas and shut down the dreams of our people. America always plants our flag on the next frontier and pushes boldly ahead. We have to do that. We haven't been doing that for a long time, especially the last 3.5 years. It's gone the exact opposite. Those of you in this room inherit the legacy of generations of American pioneers and patriots, risk-takers and renegades who settled this continent, built the modern world, and lived on the bleeding edge. You live on a bleeding edge. You do know that, Bitcoiners, don't you? You are the modern-day Edisons and Wright brothers and Carnegies and Henry Fords, and what you do in your lifetime stands a chance to outlive us all and inspire humanity for generations to come. This will go down as a very important day in the history of your industry. Together, you are building America's future with your own smarts, your own grit, and your own skin in the game. You have a lot of skin in the game, and that's what you're doing. It takes courage to do it. Most people don't have that courage. My job will be to set you free and to let you do what Americans do best and what you're going to do better than anybody. Win, win, win. You're going to win, win, win. With energy, passion, and brilliance like we have rarely seen before, our country cannot fail. We're a failing nation right now, but we're not going to be for long. Our country cannot fail. With your help, we will save our nation, we will restore our republic, and we will make America and Bitcoin bigger, better, stronger, richer, freer, and greater than ever before. Thank you all. Have a good time with your Bitcoin and your crypto and everything else that you're playing with. And we're going to make that one of the greatest industries on earth. Good luck and God bless you all. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. He said he was going to stop choke point 2.0. What else did he say? He was going to fire Gary Gensler. All right. He's going to hold on to all of the Bitcoin that the United States currently owns. And he was, what else? Going to commute Ross Ulbricht. That's pretty much it. That's what we got from Trump there. So, not the zero taxes that we were probably hoping when it came to like RFK announcing that stuff. But yeah. Just need the news to spread now? Exactly. Price is going down again. I'm going to go to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Magazine. I'm your host, Pete Rizzo, editor of Bitcoin Magazine. You just saw history. The 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, making history in addressing the Bitcoin industry. We got some quotes from him. In 15 years, Bitcoin has gone from an idea to the 9th most valuable asset in the world. Stay tuned. Cynthia Lummis now taking the main stage. We're told she has even a bigger announcement. Take a look.
Donald Trump, here it is. This is the Bitcoin Reserve Bill. I'm reading from the text. In the Senate of the United States, to establish a Bitcoin strategic reserve, a network of secure storage vaults, purchase program, and other programs to ensure the transparent management of Bitcoin holdings of the federal government. My name is Cynthia Lummis, and I'm the Bitcoin Senator. When Satoshi Nakamoto, in January of 2009, mined the first Bitcoin, he brought about an asset that will change the world. And this is our Louisiana Purchase moment.
All right, I'm back. We got Loomis out here. What's she talking about?
This Bitcoin reserve that we're going to create
What's she
will
just say?
start with the 210,000
Oh, the Bitcoin reserve.
that President Trump just mentioned, and pull it into a reserve stored in geographically diverse vaults. And that's only the beginning. Over 5 years, the United States will assemble 1 million Bitcoin, 5% of the world's
Okay, so yeah, we are
supply.
buying it. So we got Cynthia Loomis here, who just said they're going to try and get the U.S. reserves up to 5% of the total supply of Bitcoin.
20 years and can be used for one purpose: reduce our debt.
Okay.
This Bitcoin is going to be transformative for this country. As President Trump just said, we are printing too much money. We are spending too much money.
Absolutely.
We printed in 22 months during COVID the same amount of money that had ever been printed in the history of the United States. Well, no more. With a strategic Bitcoin reserve, we will have an asset that in that period of time before 2045 can cut our debt in half. And as Michael Saylor said yesterday,
Back up to 68.
if we
Let's
put
go, Peter.
$3.3 million in a Bitcoin reserve, we will eliminate the United States debt. We will be debt-free because of Bitcoin. This asset is transforming not only our country, but our world. And the United States needs to be the global leader, as President Trump just said. And you know what? We don't have to raise taxes to do it. We have the funds now. This bill provides that not only will the asset forfeiture money be transferred into this reserve, fulfilling President Trump's promise that he won't sell any Bitcoin, but we will convert excess reserves at our 12 Federal Reserve banks into Bitcoin over 5 years. We have the money now.
It's an interesting concept.
But we'll no longer be holding it in US dollars, an asset that is designed to debase at least 2% per year. We'll be holding it in an asset that will grow in value, that throughout its history has grown 55% per year. This is the solution. This is the answer. This is our Louisiana Purchase moment. Thank you, Bitcoin. It's your love of freedom, your innovation, your thoughtful design, your keeping this asset alive, well, free, and in support of individual sovereignty that is going to save America. Let's make America free again, Bitcoin. This is our present to the United States of America. Thank you.
All right. Vivek should be out here too. I kind of caught the tail end of that one, but that was interesting.
Welcome back to the Mara News Desk, powered by Bitcoin Magazine. I'm your host, Pete Rizzo, editor of Bitcoin Magazine. We've got a packed panel here to react to even more news. It's pouring out here in Nashville, Tennessee. To my far left, Frank Corva, lead business reporter at Bitcoin Magazine. Alan Helm in the middle, and Matt Odell of 1031 Ventures. Guys, Cynthia Lummis, the Bitcoin Reserve Bill, strategic reserve, talking about a network of reserves that will ensure the transparent holdings of the federal government's Bitcoin. They want to hold Bitcoin for 20 years. Cynthia talking about the Federal Reserve System converting its excess reserves into Bitcoin. Matt.
I mean, I think that is absolutely massive. I think it will take people a little bit to realize what a big deal that is.
Yeah, to catch on.
For the country. I mean, I think it's
Which
obviously
is just
great for
pretty much
people
what
that
you
are
were
holding
saying. It's going to take take time for the information to spread.
Increase the adoption of Bitcoin substantially. And last but not least, I would say, you know, I have a great relationship with Senator Lummis, Senator Blackburn, who's coming on next, Senator Haggerty. Both Senator Blackburn and Haggerty are here in the great state of Tennessee. And I would just say that at the local level, it is incredibly impressive how our politicians are thinking about moving this country forward, and it's inspiring to see.
Well, Lummis with the big why here, reducing our debt. Frank Allen, your take on the government could buy Bitcoin as a way to solve the debt crisis.
Alan, I'll kick it over to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, let's just talk about the energy in that room. I mean, it's very, very clear.
Oh, yeah, that was insane.
At the local level, but at the federal level, and I mean, this really all kicked off in May when Trump made very pro-Bitcoin comments at the Libertarian National Convention. We're 3 months out from that, and all of a sudden,
Vivek should be next, I would
Bitcoin
think.
as part of the U.S. Strategic Reserve. I mean, it's hard not to be bullish.
Well, I say gradually, then subtly, but is this real, Frank? Do you think that this proposal can actually be passed? Can it be enacted? Is this just hopium for the masses?
This is a good question. I think Lummis was the right person to deliver it. She's been pro-Bitcoin for a long time now, so if they were going to choose someone, a senator, to do this, I think Lummis was absolutely the right person. Is it hopium? We don't know. You know, at the same time, we're not here necessarily to pander to politicians, but we are here to celebrate when they do sort of see what we see and when they're going to take action.
Well, of course, we saw history with the 45th President of the United States before. We'll be back to connect the dots between this Lummis announcement and Trump's historic speech, sending it back to the Nakamoto stage. We've got another packed panel of Vivek Ramaswamy and more. Stay tuned. It's Bitcoin 2024.
I'm going to stick around for Vivek to see what he has to say.
Hello, everybody.
All right, so here we got Vivek Ramaswamy. He's doing a Q&A. He's very pro-Bitcoin and always has been, so I'm definitely interested in seeing what this guy has to say.
Vivek Ramaswamy. Well, first of all, I'd love to get your reactions to what President Trump just said, as well as Senator Cynthia Lummis talking about having a strategic Bitcoin reserve for the United States. This is a historic moment here in Tennessee.
That's a big deal.
It is indeed a historic moment, and I am so thrilled that President Trump has become the first presidential candidate to actually have a Bitcoin platform. I think that that is so significant, and what you're going to see from those of us in the Senate once President Trump is inaugurated is a push to make certain that those of you that are involved in Bitcoin have the energy that you need, low-cost, affordable, stable energy, so that you can do your Bitcoin mining. Another thing you're going to see us do is make certain that you can self-custody, and you're going to see us get the federal government off your back, out of your blue wallets, and let you control your life and have that freedom of transaction that Bitcoin allows.
That's what we want.
So I want to make an observation about President Trump's speech, and I think it was historic, not just because he gave that speech and it's in the interests of the people in this room. That's not why he made the commitments he did. He made the commitments he did because it's in the interests of the United States of America and the values that this country was founded on, and there is a difference. I think that if our founding fathers were alive today, they would have endorsed every one of the things that Donald Trump just said on that stage. It is part of a deeper cancer in this country where you think about what is sucking the lifeblood out of the United States of America. It is the rise of this fourth branch of government. The people who were never elected to run the government, who are actually writing rules that are affecting not only every one of you, but every American. I think what you're going to get out of that second Trump term isn't there to go around and just mess around the edges of it. We want to get in there and actually shut that down. That's how you revive this country, put that regulatory state in its place. You know, one of the things that we didn't necessarily hear from today, but I want to see become part of this conversation is every time one of these administrative agencies, you know, the SEC was discussed today, pursues an action that they end up losing in federal court, they're still putting people through hell in the process.
Yeah.
You know what? If you lose, you pay. And to actually have accountability in the government for the cases they actually bring, so it's not a one-sided crusade, but there's actually accountability once and for all for the people who are actually making hell for American citizens. And I think that's where this conversation is going.
We've heard President Trump talk about how he wants America to be first. What's at stake if another country adopts Bitcoin before us?
So look, I think, go ahead, Marcia. No, you have good thoughts on
No,
that.
you go ahead on that, and then I'll follow up.
So look, I think that the United States of America was founded on the unapologetic pursuit of excellence. Excellence is our heritage. It is in our DNA as a country. And so what I think is at stake for the United States of America is really shame. The idea that we, through self-harm, constrained ourselves from achieving the maximum of what is possible in Bitcoin or in any other arena is, I think, a stain on our country. When we rallied behind the cry to make America great again, it was not just Donald Trump that we hungered for. It was for the unapologetic pursuit of excellence. That is who we are as Americans. That is our heritage. That is our identity. That's what's at stake in this room, right? When you say Bitcoin to the moon, you know, I know many people just want the value of their holding to go up, and that's fine.
That's me.
But I think it is a statement of a deeper point of American exceptionalism, right? We are the unbounded, the unbridled, the unafraid, the people who would not be constrained to achieve the maximum of our potential without any government or system standing in our way. That's what our founding fathers envisioned. And I think that culture, it has been domesticated, it has been tamed, it has been whipped into submission by this new culture that penalizes excellence and celebrates victimhood. While that inner animal has now leapt oceans to lift up places like China. And so, yes, when we say make America great again, what we want is to unleash that inner beast, unleash that inner animal spirit. And that's the animal spirit that I know motivates those of you in this room to achieve what you do. And that's what we're going to unleash again in January of next year.
Yes, and I think as you look at what President Trump was saying and adding on to what Vivek is saying, what we realize is that there is a new axis of evil. It is Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. And we understand and fully appreciate if America is not first, in this innovation, then the innovation is going to go to whomever is first, whomever has the lowest barrier to entry.
Weird how this is finally catching on to people.
We don't want that innovation, those bright minds, to leave our shores. We want those bright
Not so
minds
much people, more
to
like
be here.
politicians.
Likewise, that also means getting the federal government out of your way. And one of the things you will see from President Donald Trump is going to be a push to work with us in the Senate and in the House to rein in the federal government, to right-size these agencies, and to make certain that we're getting rid of a lot of these unnecessary rules and regulations and bureaucrats who spend their time shuffling paper and never answering the questions that we, the people, have of those agencies, whether it's the SEC, the FDIC, the IRS. So if you're going to open doors of opportunity, it means you remove the obstacles. And I think we have certainly defined what many of those obstacles are.
The price is coming back.
Let's talk a little bit about transactional freedom. Yesterday, a lot of the people who came to the Bitcoin conference heard Edward Snowden say that America is the only advanced democracy that doesn't have a data privacy law. What are you going to do to prevent financial surveillance and really allow for transactional freedom?
Natalie, I'm so glad you brought that up, because since 2012, I have had legislation that would establish a national federal preemption on data privacy and allow you, the individual, to own what I call your virtual you, which is you and your presence online. Now, as we look at the expansion of Bitcoin and of crypto, as we look at the growth of AI, as we look at the speeds with quantum, what do we know? If you're going to have AI, if you're going to have transactional freedom, you have to have a national, federally preemptive data privacy and data security law so that you have the right to own your presence online. And you have the right to shield that from being used to train large language models. And our hope is that with Republicans in control of the Senate Commerce Committee, we will be able to pass and have President Trump sign into law a national data privacy standard.
And I should say, notice everything about Marsha's comments. These are not particularly partisan issues, right? And he mentioned the Republicans, and that's what's going to be required in a new majority after January. But this is not a Republican or Democrat issue, and it certainly shouldn't be. Same goes for the opposition to a central bank digital currency. What was the most popular argument for the adoption of one? And this is all about surveillance too, by the way. The most popular argument is that, hey, China's doing it, they're going to a digital yuan, and so we have to do it in the United States to keep up with the Joneses or keep up with the Jinpings or whatever the case may be. You have to step back and ask yourself why China is adopting a central bank digital currency or taking steps to adopt one, is to implement a surveillance state by force that otherwise would not have been able to be implemented without that central bank digital currency. So I do think that these should transcend partisanship. I also want to make a prediction this year about the election because of this. I think there's a good number of people across the United States of America who will not say that they're going to vote for Donald Trump or for a Republican this year, but who absolutely stand for financial freedom. They call themselves single-issue voters in crypto, and I think one of the things I've found in the tech world, crypto world, Bitcoin world is when you say you're a single-issue voter, effectively that means you're voting for Trump this cycle and you don't want to just pronounce it in so many words. So my empirical prediction here is I think the polls are actually off by about at least 1%. I think whatever the polls look like, you can add 1% of it, and that's the way you're going to adjust it. If that prediction proves right this November, you can call that the Bitcoin bump or the crypto bump this November, because I do think when you look at the number of people who are actually using or adopting Bitcoin or crypto into your portfolio, who understand the assault on that by the regulatory state today through the back door, not even through the front door. I think we now have a clear choice between the two major candidates of who's going to be the right one to get that job done. And I think it's, Natalie, I think probably for the first time in history, going to have a measurable, palpable impact on the outcome of this election relative to the polling that you now see. And so that'll be a prediction I'll make today.
Yeah, and if I can add one thing on the CBDC, this is something that as China started to push the digital yuan when Beijing hosted the Olympics, some of us stepped forward to make certain that our U.S. athletes were shielded from that because of the surveillance that is built into that. And as CBDC leads to that social credit score, it leads to the government telling you how you can and cannot spend your money. And you know, Natalie, I think we all remember in 2022 when the Canadian government shut down the bank accounts of people that weren't willing to mask. And then you had the trucker strike, and they shut down bank accounts. The federal government ought not to be messing with your transactional life. You
Absolutely.
want that freedom.
Yeah, that event minted a lot of Bitcoiners.
Yes.
Vivek, I'm glad you brought up bipartisanship, because one thing a lot of Bitcoiners love is that Bitcoin is a neutral currency, that it is apolitical. What if some people are watching this out there in their homes in America and they see President Trump embracing Bitcoin, and now they see it as something that's going to be used as a conservative tool, that maybe they should oppose it just because the other side is embracing it? What do you say? Should Bitcoin be apolitical and bipartisan?
You tell those people
Yeah,
they're
so
retarded.
Absolutely it should. In fact, this goes back to America's heritage. Alexis de Tocqueville traveled this country, over a century and a half ago. And one of the things he said is that the United States of America isn't actually supposed to last. The land is too expansive. It's too diverse in terms of the ethnic heritage of people. There's too much religious diversity. This isn't supposed to last unless there are certain, what he called intermediary institutions that are apolitical, that you preserve from the sphere of partisan politics. And that's the sports of this country, the private sector of this country, the philanthropic institutions, but I would put Bitcoin in that category as well, where once that itself becomes politicized, then that, I think, is the beginning of the end. Listen really carefully to what you heard from President Trump. I know that was not delivered off the cuff, okay? Every one of those commitments he made were well thought out, and I think if he took the trouble, believe me on this, if he took the trouble of vetting it to say that it's going to go into that speech you heard today, he really means it and stands behind it. None of that involved the weaponization of a new tool to advance conservative ends. Sure, are there going to be some people who say that, hey, the right thing to do is to co-opt these administrative agencies and use them to advance conservative ends rather than progressive goals? Maybe some people who advocate for that, and they're entitled to their view. But I think what we stand for is when we hopefully win this election and take over in January of 2025, we don't want to co-opt those three-letter agencies or the regulatory state. We just want to get in there and shut it down for everybody. Left, right, center, doesn't matter. That's how you revive the country on principle. And so, yes, do we want to keep it neutral? You're darn right. Capitalism is neutral. Capitalism is what unites us across our otherwise partisan differences. It's been politicized, I would argue, in the other direction. But the right answer there isn't to fight fire with fire. In this case, it is to fight fire with water. And
Price
that's
is
how
really
you actually
moving up now.
preserve what our founding fathers envisioned.
We're getting
in
close to 69
1776.
again.
Let's talk a little bit about the American dream. It's been lost for so many people. It's been on the decline, and
Welcome back to the Mara News Desk, powered by Bitcoin Magazine. Once
why
again,
are
I'm
you
your host,
cutting
Pete
them
Rizzo,
off?
editor of Bitcoin Magazine. Hours ago, we watched history happen, or just an hour ago, we watched history happen when the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump, took the stage, unveiling a slew of policy proposals. Reacting here on the desk, a new power panel. To my left, David Zell of the Bitcoin Policy Institute. To his left, Jack Maller, CEO of Strike. And we've got Matt Pines, also of the Bitcoin Policy Institute, going to rip through some headlines from Donald J. Trump's speech. Bitcoin will be approaching silver and gold, and one day it will overtake gold. Quote, there's never been anything like it. Quote, day one promised to fire Gary Gensler. In the first 100 days, he said the rules for the Bitcoin and crypto industry will be written by people who, quote, love the industry, freedom of transaction, freedom of association, freedom of speech, safe, responsible expansion of stable coins, downplayed the threat to the dollar that Bitcoin poses, and he said the danger is not from crypto, but from Washington, D.C. And, of course, the big headline, committing to not selling 200,000 Bitcoin that the U.S. government owns. His quote, never sell your Bitcoin. Want to go to the panel reacting to Donald Trump's speech. Thoughts to the floor. Who were there? You were all there and watching history happen.
We were. Jack?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
All right, here's my complete take. I think there's a lot of media talking about, is this strong dollar? Is this weak dollar? Is the government going to speculatively attack the dollar and reprice the dollar against Bitcoin? What I heard up there is this is neutral dollar. From both, I'm combining Trump and Lummis. I think my personal takeaway is if they execute and follow through on this, so everything that was said is still speculative because he's not elected and in office. This announcement and the combination and the bill proposed by Lummis, if this is followed through, I put this on par for a U.S. economic announcement to 71 and Nixon.
Wow.
I do. I think the takeaway for me in the massive difference, if you think 1971 economic announcement, if you think 2008, all the economic announcements, those had negative connotations. Those were out of desperation. This is a progressive announcement, right? This is an announcement.
Trump pump to unwind a Nixon shock.
This is an announcement. He talked about jobs. He talked about energy. He talked about industry. This is an announcement about growth, about freedom, about future. This is an announcement of the United States of America on offense.
Yeah.
I think it's that big of an announcement, but in 71 we were on defense. And I think Bitcoin is freedom, it's optimism, it's innovation. So I think it's very American. I think the fact that you got two presidential candidates and a senator proposing such a bill is a huge deal. Unfortunately, I mean, I even am going to have to check Twitter and say, like, wait, what did each of them say? But that's my takeaways. It's not anti-dollar. It's not pro-dollar. It's not speculatively attacking the dollar. It's neutral dollar. It's pro-America. It's us being on offense. That's my take.
We heard from Trump. I'm probably going to cut this off.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I think that's pretty much all I got for tonight.